Chapter 8:16. I don't know. He is currently plotting with the people behind the scenes to attack the research institute. Ling Qianxue said, I came to tell you this news, it's time to go. Okay, you can go back. But leave some blood and hair behind, I'll go and test it. Although Ling Tian believed her, he still needed to confirm it. Okay. Ling Qianxue casually pulled out a few strands of her hair, then used a dagger to prick her finger and drip some blood into a teacup on the table. She then said to Ling Tian, forgive your granddaughter for not being able to control herself, I'll take my leave first. After saying this, Ling Qianxue quickly left. Ling Tian didn't stop her, and neither did Xiao Chen. Looking at Ling Qianxue's back, Ling Tian couldn't help but sigh. Chief Ling, I feel that this matter is very strange. Even if Ling Qianxue is your granddaughter, there might be a problem with her motives. Xiao Chen said. I also feel that. Ling Tian wasn't the kind of person who couldn't distinguish between public and private matters. He sighed, but I've long suspected that there was something wrong with Ling Qianyu's sister, but I never had the chance to verify it. It seems that my guess is correct. Oh? Who is Ling Qianyu's sister? Xiao Chen thought of Ling Qianxue's deskmate. I can't say for now. Ling Tian said, this involves some secrets, as well as the internal affairs of the Secret Investigation Bureau. I've just become the chief, so I don't have the authority to tell you these things. Oh, it's fine. But I'll see what happens first. Xiao Chen said. Okay, I'll go verify the authenticity of this Ling Qianxue first. Ling Tian picked up the hair and blood and left. Xiao Chen had actually set up a small-scale monitoring formation on Ling Qianxue. However, this formation was rather weak. It would disappear not long after Ling Qianxue returned, so young Master Xing shouldn't be able to discover it. After Ling Tian left, Xiao Chen also quickly took out his flying sword and left. Ling Qianxue returned to the hall. Yashima Kuru was already waiting for her. Luckily, young Master Xing was not in the hall. This allowed Xiao Chen to let out a sigh of relief. Ling Qianxue, did you complete the mission? Yashima Kuru asked impatiently. Yes, Master Ling, seems that even though you know the truth, you didn't betray the Sakura group. I'm very happy. Well, that's good. It seems that even though you know the truth, you didn't betray the Sakura group. I'm very happy. I am a ninja of the Sakura group, I will not betray the organization. Ling Qianxue said loudly. Sakura group. Yashima Kuru said. By the way, Lord Yidao, if we are really going to attack the research institute, why did you tell Xiao Chen in advance? Didn't the plan fail? Ling Qianxue asked in confusion. You don't have to worry about that. This is young Master Xing's arrangement. He has his own plans. Ling Young T's plan. Ling him. Ling, I don't Ling tell tool. Okay, then I'll take my leave. Ling Qianxue said. Okay, I'll take my leave. Ling Qianxue said. Go. Yashima Kuru looked at Ling Qianxue's back. His eyes flashed with greed. However, Ling Qianxue's virginity couldn't be wasted. The Sakura group had their own arrangements. If he lost her, Yashima Kuru could still enjoy her often. However, the first time had to be saved for the most important moment. Xiao Chen was even more confused. Why did it seem like all of this was true? Other than the fact that Yukio and Ling Qianxue had planned this out beforehand, Ling Qianxue didn't lie to anyone either. But why did young Master Xing lure him to the research institute? What was his plan? Xiao Chen couldn't help but fall into deep thought. However, no matter how he thought about it, he couldn't come to a conclusion. Fortunately, one thing was certain. Yashima Kuru had really given up on the plan to kidnap Ling Qianxue. Xiao Chen could rest assured. Xiao Chen, the results of Ling Qianxue's DNA test are out. There's no problem. Ling Tian said slowly over the phone. Hearing Ling Tian's low voice, Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. Although he was mentally prepared, he still couldn't believe it. Looks like Ling Qianxue wasn't lying. She is indeed my granddaughter and Qianyu's biological sister. Ling Tian's hands trembled as he stared at the results. His face was full of disbelief. This. Xiao Chen was extremely shocked. He didn't expect Yashima Kuru to be telling the truth. But wasn't this a little too miraculous? After thinking for a while, Xiao Chen asked, Chief Ling, could there be a mistake? Although modern medical equipment is indeed very advanced, it can't be 100% accurate, right? Xiao Chen remembered a report in the news. Some people had indeed gone through a DNA test, but there was indeed a misdiagnosis. This caused the family to fall out and even went to court. After a second test, it was discovered that it was all a misunderstanding. I've also considered what you said. I've done a few tests, but the results are all the same. Ling Tian smiled bitterly and shook his head. Also, you should know that the Supernatural Investigation Department has a specialized department in charge of these things. The results are faster and more accurate than other places. Looks like I've worried too much. Xiao Chen nodded to himself. Since Ling Tian was the acting chief of the Supernatural Investigation Department, he naturally had his own channels. Since Ling Qianxue is your granddaughter, why would she go to Japan and become a ninja of the Sakura group? Why would she work for Yashima Kuru? Ling Tian hesitated for a moment, as if he had made a big decision, and said slowly, back then, because of some reason, Qianyu's sister, Ling Qianxue, was sent to a sect in the inner martial arts world. I think that there must have been a problem in the middle. Just as Xiao Chen was about to ask what the reason was, Ling Tian seemed to know what he was thinking and said, right now, I can only tell you this. Although this is a matter of the Ling family, it involves too many people. I can't make the decision on my own. There are some things that I need to ask my superiors before I can decide whether or not to tell you. It's alright, I can understand. However, does Qianyu know about this? Xiao Chen didn't seem to mind. Instead, he furrowed his brows as he tried to recall. For some reason, after hearing Ling Tian's words, a light bulb went off in his head. It was as if he had thought of something. However, his thoughts flashed by too quickly, and he couldn't grasp the details in time. Qianyu doesn't know yet. Remember to keep this a secret. Don't tell her for now. Ling Tian said solemnly. After all, this matter had been hidden for more than 10 years. Because it involved some secrets, as well as the internal affairs of the Supernatural Investigation Department, Ling Qianyu, who was an ordinary person, had never been told. Furthermore, if Ling Tian were to tell Qianyu so abruptly, she might find it hard to accept. Okay, I understand. Xiao Chen nodded his head. He wasn't a person who liked to gossip. Normally, he wouldn't talk about such things with Qianyu. It's a pity that although Ling Qianxue is my granddaughter, I can't judge whether her surrender is real or fake. Ling Tian let out a sigh. You also felt it yesterday. Her motives are indeed suspicious. Bureau Chief Ling, I heard that they are definitely going to attack the research institute. Their goal is to get me to go. Xiao Chen didn't explain how he heard the news. Instead, he said directly, since their target is me, I'll be able to find out once I go to the research institute. Since that's the case, you can go and prepare yourself and go to the research institute. Ling Tian said decisively. Then, he said a little gloomily, however, I don't know why they want you to go. We can only wait and see. We can only wait and see. Xiao Chen looked at the window of the opposite dormitory. However, this side, Ling Tian knew what Xiao Chen meant and said, as for your current job, I will find someone else to take over. You can go and prepare yourself before heading to the research institute. Oh, right, remember to say goodbye to Qianyu before you leave. She really wants to thank you in person. After saying that, Ling Tian ordered someone to find Xiao Zhao and Xiao Wu and send them to continue protecting Qianyu. Although he was sure that Qianyu would be fine, he still needed to observe her for a while longer. If the other party played a trick on Qianyu right after Xiao Chen retreated and kidnapped her, wouldn't he have been fooled? Xiao Zhao and Xiao Wu originally thought that after Xiao Chen took over, they would be able to heave a sigh of relief. Who would have thought that in just a few days, Xiao Chen wouldn't be able to handle it anymore and this mess would land on their heads again. This Missy was hard to please and they didn't have Xiao Chen's ability. They could only prepare themselves to be scolded. Unexpectedly, after they went over, Qianyu didn't make things difficult for them at all. Instead, they were confused. Of course, this was a story for another time. On the other side, Xiao Chen hung up the phone and packed his things. Then, he jogged along the normal route to Qianyu's dormitory. Xiao Chen rarely appeared near the female dormitory during the day. Actually, being a hedonistic young master was quite handsome, especially after he became a cultivator. Thus, there were many girls who pointed at him and gossiped about him. However, when they saw him enter the female dormitory, they all left in disappointment. It turned out that he was already taken. However, some gossipy girls still secretly followed behind Xiao Chen. They wanted to see which girl was so fast. If it wasn't a beauty, as the saying goes, even though the grass is taken, I will loosen the soil. However, when Xiao Chen stopped outside Qianyu's dormitory, the girls who followed him all left. Loosening the soil required a suitable soil. Although they didn't know Qianyu's background, they knew that they couldn't compare to her in terms of looks. Chapter 8:17. Xiao Chen ignored the commotion behind him and knocked on the door. After waiting for a while, he realized that there was no response, so he patiently knocked a few more times. In the end, there was still no response. Could it be that this chick is still asleep? Xiao Chen looked at the time and muttered. He might as well use his divine sense to monitor the situation. Ling Qianyu was indeed still sleeping soundly under the blanket. Helplessly, Xiao Chen took out his phone and dialed Ling Qianyu's number. But after a few rings, Ling Qianyu's angry roar came through the receiver. Xiao Chen, what are you doing? Calling me so early in the morning, are you going to let me sleep? I have something to tell you. Open the door first. Xiao Chen didn't expect Ling Qianyu to be so angry when she woke up. He hung up the phone gloomily and felt his ears ringing. He couldn't help but rub them. Then, he heard the sound of hurried footsteps coming from the room. The moment the door suddenly opened, Xiao Chen was stunned by the white light in front of him. He didn't expect Ling Qianyu to appear naked in front of him. And because she opened the door so forcefully, the little white bunnies in front of her chest were like two pieces of pudding. It made Xiao Chen dizzy and he couldn't move his eyes away. What is it that can't wait until I wake up? Why must you? Ling Qianyu was furious. Last night, he tossed and turned until the middle of the night before going to sleep. It's only 6:00 and he's already waking me up. But halfway through her words, she suddenly saw Xiao Chen staring at her. She subconsciously followed Xiao Chen's gaze and looked down. Ah! A heart-wrenching scream came from the female dormitory. Ling Qianyu finally remembered that she slept in a bathrobe after taking a shower yesterday. But when she woke up, the bathrobe was long gone. She was in a hurry to open the door and forgot about it. Ling Qianyu's screams immediately caused a commotion in the dormitory. Many people came from afar to see what was happening. Ling Qianyu didn't want to be the center of attention. In a moment of desperation, she immediately covered her private parts and turned around. She lowered her voice and said angrily, "Stupid Xiao Chen, hurry up and come in. Close the door." After saying that, she quickly ran into the inner room, not caring that the beautiful scenery behind her had been seen by a certain someone. Xiao Chen shrugged helplessly, closed the door, and sat on the sofa. He thought to himself, if I wanted to peep, would have used the monitoring array. Why wait until now? The onlookers saw that the door was closed and there was no one there. There was nothing to see, so they all dispersed. What did you see just now? Not long after, Ling Qianyu put on her pajamas and walked out of the bedroom. She glared at Xiaochen angrily. Didn't I tell you? My eyes have an automatic filtering function. Some dirty things and things that shouldn't be seen will be filtered out. It's like a mosaic. Xiaochen sat on the sofa with his hands spread out and said innocently. This is the difference between cavalry and infantry. Xiaochen added in his heart. Humph. At least you know what's good for you. Ling Qianyu didn't know what was going on in Xiaochen's mind. She rolled her eyes at him and poured herself a glass of water. She drank it in one gulp and wiped her mouth. You're disturbing my sweet dreams so early in the morning. What's so important? Did my grandfather give you a new mission and transfer you to another place? Ling Qianyu said this on purpose. In her opinion, Xiaochen's mission to protect her would probably last for a long time. What she didn't expect was that Xiaochen nodded and said, yes, I just received instructions from Bureau Chief Ling, so I came to say goodbye to you and prepare to leave. From Xiaochen's point of view, the special agent protecting this little girl probably had to be changed every few days. Otherwise, no one would be able to endure her reckless temper. However, she was probably used to it. Huh? Are you serious? You've only been here for a few days. Ling Qianyu was stunned. She was really surprised. She had just accepted Xiaochen as a bodyguard a little. Why was he leaving now? At this moment, she suddenly felt an inexplicable sense of loss in her heart. She didn't know why. I can't help it. There's a more important mission for me to carry out, Xiaochen explained simply. Then who's going to take over your position? Ling Qianyu asked subconsciously. She felt that no matter who it was, it didn't seem to be as good as Xiaochen. It's probably Xiao Wu and Xiao Zhao from before. They've been with you for a while, so they'll be more familiar with you. They'll get used to it quickly. Well, that's goodbye. I'm leaving. See you again if there's a chance. Xiaochen stretched and stood up to leave. Wait! Ling Qianyu shouted out for some reason. Seeing Xiaochen turn his head to look at her, she hurriedly said, these days. It's all thanks to your protection that I wasn't captured by that female ninja. I want to treat you to a meal to thank you for taking care of me. It can also be considered as an apology for my previous impolite attitude. Ling Qianyu stuttered. She didn't know why she suddenly seemed to be nervous, and her face was a little hot. There's no need, right? I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. Xiaochen said lightly. Well, you don't have to be so polite. But I don't have money to treat you to a big meal. Let's go to the school cafeteria and have something to eat. After Ling Qianyu dropped this sentence, she turned back to the inner room and quickly closed the door. Her voice came from behind the door, wait for me for a while. I'll change my clothes. Don't sneak out, and don't peek. Okay. Xiaochen reluctantly agreed. It wasn't that he disliked the school cafeteria food. When he and Tang Tang sold fried dough sticks in the morning market street, he had eaten many cheap things. It was already good to be able to eat a normal meal in the cafeteria. It was just that deep in his heart, he didn't want to have too much contact with Ling Qianyu. After all, the task of protecting her had ended. In the future, they would basically have no chance to meet, so there was no need to eat together. Although she was a beauty, Xiaochen was no longer the playboy he used to be. He would avoid her if he could. He still had to go to the research institute. If he was late, that young Master Xing would make a surprise attack and find out that he was not there. It would be bad if there were more complications. Before Xiaochen's mind finished turning, Ling Qianyu came out. She casually changed into casual clothes and said, "Let's go." The two walked together in the direction of the school cafeteria. Because the high-end student dormitory building was relatively far from the cafeteria, and the time they arrived was just in time for dinner, so they met a lot of students on the way to eat. After those students saw Ling Qianyu and Xiao Chen, most of them looked surprised. Although they didn't directly come up to talk, they were not far behind the two, pointing and whispering. Look, isn't that Ling Qianyu? Didn't she claim to live alone? Why would she go to the cafeteria with other boys?" A gossipy girl excitedly pulled the sissy next to her and said. "It's true, it's really her. I remember that she usually has little contact with boys. It's rare to even talk more than a few words. What's going on today? Did the sun rise from the west?" The sissy was also very surprised and flicked his thumb and middle finger. "Humph. I think she's just pretending." A girl with heavy makeup next to them snorted coldly, "What kind of rich girl is she? Doesn't she just throw herself at a handsome guy with all her might? But the boy next to her is quite handsome, I wonder which faculty he's from. I'll go hit on him later and ask." "Are you trying to hit on him? I think you're going to eat him up." Her best friend teased, "I wonder if that guy can satisfy your appetite. Will he be squeezed dry by you?" Just as everyone was joking, a short boy with a protruding mouth and monkey cheeks stared at the backs of Xiao Chen and Ling Qianyu. His eyes turned thoughtfully, then he suddenly turned around and left the crowd, running in the direction of the school building. The exterior of Lancheng University's cafeteria looked similar to Songning Second High School, but it wasn't as luxurious as Second High School. There were only the first and second floors. The first floor was a general cafeteria that looked like a fast food restaurant, suitable for ordinary students to consume. The second floor was a place where students could order. Like other restaurants, there were also private rooms and the main hall. Students could order according to their preferences. However, Lancheng University was just an ordinary public university, unlike Songning Second High School, which was a private academy. Therefore, the dishes in the cafeteria on the second floor weren't that rich. Although many students from wealthy families would usually come to the second floor to consume, they would at most hold a small birthday party. There wouldn't be any high-end dishes. In any case, seafood such as Australian lobster and grouper were definitely absent. When Xiao Chen and Ling Qianyu arrived, it was just in time for lunch. The fast food windows on the first floor were all lined up, and the tables and chairs placed in the middle of the cafeteria were also filled with students and teachers who came to eat. Looking over, it was densely packed, and there were also many people looking for seats with their trays of food in their hands. Originally, Xiao Chen wanted to just eat some fast food, but unfortunately, there were no empty seats on the first floor. Moreover, Ling Qianyu insisted on treating him to a good meal, so the two went to the second floor. "All right, I'll just have these." After finding a random seat and sitting down, Ling Qianyu took the menu and ordered, then passed it to Xiao Chen. "Take a look. Order whatever you want to eat. I don't know what you usually like to eat or avoid. That's all. I'm not picky, I can eat anything. Oh, and give me another serving of rice. I want a big one. But hurry up." Xiao Chen waved his hand and sent the waiter away. He was completely indifferent to what he ate. In the past, he could even make do with the steamed buns and flour rolls from roadside noodle shops. Even the nutritious instant noodles were just a snap of his fingers. He only urged the waiter to serve the dishes as soon as possible. After eating, he still had to rush to the research institute. "Xiao Chen, I know that I had a bad attitude before, so I wanted to treat you to a meal to apologize. But now, it seems like you're very unwilling." Ling Qianyu pouted and complained. Chapter 8:18. After all, many boys in school took the initiative to invite her to eat, but she ignored them. It was rare for her to treat someone to a meal, so why did Xiao Chen look so reluctant? A large portion of rice, are you a glutton? Ling Qianyu silently criticized. No, you're thinking too much. I still have a mission, so I want to finish eating as soon as possible so that I can carry out the mission. Xiaofan explained. In fact, he basically heard the students' rumors just now, so he wanted to finish eating quickly and cut ties with Ling Qianyu as soon as possible. This would be good for both of them. Oh. Okay. Ling Qianyu saw that Xiaofan's attitude was neither salty nor indifferent, and she felt sullen for no reason in her heart. She didn't want to talk to him anymore, so she took out her phone and lowered her head to play with it. There weren't as many students eating on the second floor as there were on the first floor, and the waiter quickly served all the dishes. Xiaofan didn't stand on ceremony, picked up the chopsticks and wolfed down the food. On the other hand, Ling Qianyu looked like a lady from a wealthy family, eating in an orderly manner, and from time to time looked up at Xiaofan. She seriously suspected that her grandfather was mistreating his employees. Look at Xiaofan's ferocious appearance, as if he hadn't eaten for a few days. Is the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's cafeteria full every day? Not long after eating, they heard dang 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 footsteps coming from the stairs, and two men ran up from downstairs. One of them was the boy with a protruding mouth and ape-like chin in the crowd just now. Young Master Zheng, look, they're sitting over there. At this time, the man with a protruding mouth and ape-like chin pointed at Xiaofan's table and said to the rich young master beside him, I didn't lie to you, right? I don't know where that kid came from, but he actually dared to eat at the same table with sister-in-law Qianyu. He clearly doesn't respect you, young Master Zheng. *CK his grandma's leg, that kid is quite bold. He actually dared to steal my corner. The boy called young Master Zheng stared at Xiaofan fiercely, waved his hand and said, let's go meet him. After he finished speaking, he walked towards Xiaofan and Ling Qianyu with a displeased expression. The monkey-faced man followed behind him. Although Xiaofan was engrossed in eating, he had already noticed two people walking towards him from the corner of his eyes. Their expressions were ferocious. However, he ignored it and continued to eat the food on the table as if nothing had happened. Qianyu? It's you, what a coincidence. Are you also eating in the cafeteria? Young Master Zheng walked to the table and put on a kind smile. Ling Qianyu glanced at him and continued eating as if she hadn't heard anything. Young Master Zheng was slightly embarrassed. He deliberately looked at the dishes on the table and said disdainfully, sigh. Some people were treating, but why did they always treat low-grade dishes? Is this dish edible? Only poor people can do that. Qianxue, why don't I treat you to a big meal? There's a new seafood restaurant near the school. It's said that the lobsters and abalones are all slaughtered on the same day, so they're very fresh. Thank you for your kindness, but I'm allergic to seafood and can't eat such high-end food. Ling Qianyu said without raising her head, also, this meal is on me. Young Master Zheng was stunned. He didn't expect Ling Qianyu to take the initiative to treat a boy to a meal. However, he couldn't take it back since he had already said it. He could only turn around and say to Xiaofan, hello, my name is Michael Zheng, a descendant of Lan City's Zheng family. Qianyu rarely treats people to a meal. Brother, you're quite lucky. What's your name? Young Master Zheng purposely told Xiaofan his clan's name, then extended his hand towards Xiaofan, pretending to shake his hand. In fact, he had already planned to let Xiaofan suffer a loss. He was a Stage 3 inner force martial artist, and this kid in front of him was as white and clean as a toy boy. He looked so weak that he must be an ordinary person. With the deterrence of his family, even if this kid suffered a loss, he wouldn't dare to take revenge. However, Xiaofan ignored his hand and didn't reply. He only looked at Ling Qianyu and asked indifferently, is this person your friend? I didn't expect you to have such a wide social circle. You even know foreigners. What are you talking about? He's not my friend. He's just a classmate in the same faculty. Ling Qianyu rolled her eyes and said unhappily, and he's not a foreigner. It's just that his name is Zheng. Zheng Shiding. He probably thought it was too tacky, so he changed it to an English name. Ling Qianyu thought for a while and finally remembered this guy's name. Pfft. What did you say? Washing dishes? And it's a name that's still in progress. Xiaofan almost spat out his food. He was speechless. He didn't know how the Zheng family came up with such a strange name. What's still in progress? Ling Qianyu was stunned, but she understood after thinking about it carefully. She couldn't help but blush and glared at Xiaofan. It's joy and decision. What do you want? Are you eating? Yes, yes, yes. Qianyu is right. It's joy and decision. It means joy and decision. He. I thought the name was too meaningful, so I changed it to an English name to make it seem more low-key. Zheng Shiding's face was full of excitement and he felt like he was on cloud nine. He didn't expect Ling Qianyu to still remember his name. He immediately felt proud of himself and straightened his back a lot. Young Master Zheng, that guy is scolding you. The boy with a pointy mouth and ape-like chin was thinking fast. Seeing that Zheng Shiding didn't react, he quickly whispered a few words into his ear. F***ck. You. Zheng Shiding was furious. He was about to flip the table and beat up Xiaofan when he suddenly remembered that his goddess was still watching. He couldn't be too rude and unreasonable. He could only suppress the anger in his heart and ask through gritted teeth, "What's your relationship with Qianyu? Are you her boyfriend?" "No." Xiaofan replied indifferently. When Zheng Shiding was angry, Xiaofan had already noticed that this guy was only a stage 3 inner force martial artist, so he didn't put him in his eyes at all. "Then how dare you sit with Qianyu? If you know what's good for you, get the F***ck out of here. Don't make trouble for yourself." Zheng Shiding felt relieved and shouted angrily. "Oh, I'm Qianyu's bodyguard," Xiaofan said indifferently. His expression was still calm. "Bodyguard?" Zheng Shiding was slightly startled, but he quickly remembered the rumor about Qianyu's background. He waved his hand with disdain. "Then you can leave. I'll be responsible for protecting her. With me here, no one in the school would dare to do anything to her." "Oh, I'm a personal expert. I have to protect her at all times, so you should leave." Xiaofan glanced at Zheng Shiding from the corner of his eyes, then crossed his legs and said leisurely. "What, bodyguard? F***ck. Do you think I'm uneducated? A bodyguard is also a boyfriend." Zheng Shiding thought he was fooled by Xiaofan. He was furious. He pointed at Xiaofan and shouted, "You F***king stand up. If you have the guts, come out with me. Let's fight one-on-one. I want to see how much you're worth." "Okay, then wait for me to finish eating. Can't you see there's still a pile of food on the table? Now we need to move quickly." After Xiaofan finished, he didn't bother with Zheng Shiding anymore. He picked up his chopsticks and started eating again. Ling Qianyu looked at him with a faint smile. She didn't stop him or participate. "Why-ya-ya-ya-ya. You F***king want to die." Zheng Shiding felt that he had lost face in front of Goddess Ling. He couldn't help but fly into a rage. He shouted and grabbed Xiaofan's collar. He raised his hand and slapped down. Dong! A muffled sound rang out. Before Zheng Shiding could understand what was going on, he felt a huge force suddenly attacking him. Then, he was involuntarily sent flying backwards, fiercely slamming into a distant table. Not only did the soup and water splatter all over his body, there were even a few leaves on his face. TSK, I heard that there's a female body banquet in a certain country. I didn't expect to see a male body banquet here. You're one of a kind. Go home and wash up. The chili is in. Xiaofan adjusted his collar and patted the non-existent dust on his hand. He sat down as if nothing had happened and continued to eat. The monkey-like boy looked at Xiaofan, who looked like he had just swatted a fly. He then turned to look at the unconscious Zheng Shiding. He stood there stupidly, not daring to move. He was afraid that if he moved, he would also be, accidentally, sent flying by this fiend in front of him. The waiter not far away saw this scene. He didn't dare to make a sound. He secretly went over to pick up the overturned table. The person who was originally eating at that table was promised a new meal and free of charge. He quietly changed his seat and continued to observe the situation. Ling Qianyu was also a little speechless. She thought that Xiaofan was too violent. Although he was the one who started the fight, he couldn't just openly hit someone in the cafeteria. If this matter got out, how could she continue to stay in school? Xiaofan, how can you say that you're my personal expert? Ling Qianyu thought of what Xiaofan said and couldn't help but complain. Aren't you making things worse? Tomorrow, the whole school will know that I have a violent boyfriend. No, I'll leave after this meal. Those students won't see me again in the future. Xiaofan shrugged and said indifferently. Wouldn't that make me the campus belle's mysterious boyfriend? It'll be even more difficult to explain. Ling Qianyu frowned and said anxiously. Pfft. You're really narcissistic. Who calls themselves the campus belle? Xiaofan laughed and joked. Besides, you're the one who invited me to eat. Ling Qianyu was angry. She glared at Xiaofan. Can't you say something nice? Since I'm treating you to a meal, I'm done now. You can leave. Goodbye. At this time, Xiaofan had already swept away the leftovers on the table. He patted his stomach. Although there wasn't much food, he was 70% full. I'm done too. Thank you for your hospitality. I'm going to perform a mission now. Goodbye. No, never see you again, bye-bye. Chapter 8:19. With that, Xiaofan stood up and left. That pointy-mouthed monkey-cheeked guy even opened up a path for him. You. Looking at Xiaofan's back view, Ling Qianyu stomped her feet in anger, her face flushed red. It was not that she liked Xiaofan. She just felt that since this person had saved her, they could be considered friends. The two of them could actually become friends. They could even add each other on WeChat and chat when they were free. She treated Xiaofan to a meal for the same reason. Although Ling Qianyu was welcomed by many students and teachers in school, she didn't have a single real friend. Usually, she was surrounded by many special agents from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Once someone approached, they would stare at her like a tiger watching its prey and interrogate her. Even if there were normal students who wanted to make friends with her, they wouldn't dare to approach her as time went by. As for those rich kids, they wouldn't cause trouble for her if they had nothing better to do. Ling Qianyu's background was deep and the rumors of her proud and aloof personality spread like wildfire. It wasn't easy for her to meet Xiaofan, a person she could get along with, but in the end, he had to leave after a few days. She treated him to a meal out of goodwill, but he didn't appreciate it. Ling Qianyu felt that this guy's temper was stinky and stubborn. Every time, he would pretend to be arrogant and make her angry at the slightest provocation. He was obviously working under her grandfather, but he didn't know how to say nice words to coax her. He was really a stinky rock. After sulking for a while, Ling Qianyu realized that she had become the focus of attention of the surrounding students and teachers. Zheng Shiding, who was a distance away, was still unconscious, but he looked fine. Ling Qianyu didn't want to cause trouble, so she paid the bill and carried her bag out of the canteen. She was thinking that she must find a chance to complain to her grandfather and let him teach Xiaofan a good lesson. Only after Xiaofan and Ling Qianyu left did the pointy-mouthed monkey-cheeked guy wake up from his wooden sculpture. He ran over and shook Zheng Shiding while shouting, "Young Master Zheng! Young Master Zheng!" Wake up. Guards. It was only after leaving Lancheng University that Xiaochen remembered that he didn't drive his car when he came here. It was still broad daylight, and it was inconvenient for him to use his flying sword as a means of transportation. He had no choice but to hail a taxi, instructing the driver to drop him off near the Research Institute before walking there. At the entrance of the Research Institute, Xiaochen took out his ID. After the guard confirmed it, he quickly opened the door and let him in. Su Inda had received the news early in the morning and had been waiting for a long time. "Mr. Xiaochen, you haven't eaten yet, right? I'll get someone to prepare some hot dishes for you to eat first." Su Inda warmly greeted. Previously, Ling Tian had already sent him a copy of Xiaochen's name and appearance. As such, he was able to recognize Xiaochen as soon as he walked in. However, just as Su Inda gave a few orders to his subordinates, he was quickly stopped by Xiaochen. "Professor Su, there's no need for a meal. I've already eaten something before coming here. Let's hurry up and talk about work first." Xiaochen waved his hand and declined. Although he hadn't eaten his fill just now, as a cultivator, it wasn't a problem for him to go hungry for a few meals. Xiaochen was more worried that young Master Xing would launch a surprise attack. "Alright, then I'll introduce the current situation of the Research Institute to you. This way, please." Su Inda didn't say much. He gestured for Xiaochen to follow him and brought Xiaochen to check out the layout of the Research Institute. Xiaochen carefully observed as he walked. He discovered that there were still a few areas where the defense of the Research Institute was relatively weak and could easily be ambushed by outsiders. Thus, he quietly set up a surveillance array in those areas. After a round of inspection, Xiaochen nodded and said, "There shouldn't be any major problems. Now that everything is ready, all that's left is to wait patiently." With Mr. Xiaochen here, there naturally won't be any problems," Su Inda said as he happily looked up and down at Xiaochen. Xiaochen felt nervous for no reason. He quickly interrupted, "That. Professor Su, you're too polite. I'm a generation younger than you, so don't call me Mr. Xiaochen. Just call me Xiaochen." "Xiaochen. Since you said so, then I won't treat you as an outsider. Don't call me Professor Su. Just call me Uncle Su," Su Inda said with a smile. Xiaochen nodded and agreed. He shouted, "Uncle Su. Good. Very good." Su Inda's face was glowing. He seemed to be very satisfied with Xiaochen. "Oh right, a while ago, I said that I wanted to betroth Wuxia to you. Have you thought about it after you went back? I see that the two of you get along quite well. She often mentions you in front of me, so it's obvious that she has a good impression of you." Su Inda really wasn't lying. Wuxia was usually quiet and didn't interact much with boys. Now that she mentioned Xiaochen from time to time, it was already a special phenomenon. Moreover, Wuxia was about to go to university. Xiaochen was someone who knew him well. If the two of them could be together, Su Inda would naturally be very happy. "This." Xiaochen scratched his head and said awkwardly, "Wuxia is still young, and I have an important position in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. I won't be staying in Lan City for long. I'm afraid." Before Xiaochen could express his rejection, Su Inda patted his shoulder heavily and praised, "Not bad. I admire responsible young people like you the most. You're already much more outstanding than your peers. However, although your career is important, you should also consider your personal life when you have time. What do you think?" You're right," Xiaochen answered with difficulty. He felt a headache coming on. Just as he was thinking about how to change the topic, he suddenly heard his phone ring. Xiaochen felt like he had been pardoned. He quickly picked up his phone and glanced at it. He realized it was an unfamiliar number, so he gestured to Su Inda and walked to the side to pick up the call. "Hello, who's this?" "Hello, Xiao Chen. I'm Ling Qianxue. A pleasant female voice came from the other end of the phone. Ling Qianxue. Who are you? Xiao Chen was stunned. He already knew two girls with this name. He wondered which one of them was calling. We just met yesterday. You can't be so forgetful, right? Ling Qianxue didn't know what was going on and thought that Xiao Chen was purposely making her angry. Oh, it's you. What's up? Xiao Chen asked. I just received news that someone will attack the research institute tonight. Ling Qianxue lowered her voice and said, I sneaked out to call you. You'd better be prepared. Okay, I got it. Is there anything else? Xiao Chen nodded without any surprise and replied casually. Previously, Xiao Chen had already used the array to eavesdrop on the conversation between Ling Qianxue and Yukio Yidao, so he didn't think that Ling Qianxue really came to surrender. Even if the sneak attack at night was real, it didn't mean that she was a good person. Moreover, who would call before a sneak attack? Did Yukio Yidao trust her that much? Ling Qianxue was a little surprised. What was wrong with Xiao Chen? He didn't seem excited at all. Is my DNA report out? Ling Qianxue thought for a moment and asked. Was it because their report was not out yet? Was that why Xiao Chen was so weird? It's out. You are indeed the granddaughter of Chief Ling, Xiao Chen said lightly. Then why are you? Ling Qianxue was even more surprised. She couldn't understand Xiao Chen's attitude. You are the granddaughter of Chief Ling, not my granddaughter. Why should I be happy? Xiao Chen didn't want to expose this girl, so he decided to play dumb. Why don't you try calling my grandpa? You. Forget it, good luck. Goodbye. Ling Qianxue was so angry that she almost cursed out loud. Luckily, she remembered her mission and stopped herself. After hanging up the phone, Ling Qianxue took out the card from her phone, snapped it in half, and threw it into the trash can like what Xiao Chen did. Xiao Chen put down his phone and thought for a while. He felt that regardless of whether Ling Qianxue's information was reliable or not, he had to inform Ling Tian and let him make the decision. After all, other than being the superior, Ling Tian was also Ling Qianxue's grandpa. Thus, Xiao Chen dialed Ling Tian's number and told him everything he knew. After hearing what Ling Tian had to say, Ling Tian was a little hesitant. However, he still made a decision in the end. It was better to believe it than not. After instructing Xiao Chen to await further orders at the Research Institute, he immediately gathered his men and guarded the Research Institute from the outside to the inside. Furthermore, he set up sentries at all the entrances and exits of Lan City to prevent the attackers from escaping the moment they succeeded. In order to prevent a repeat of the same mistake, Ling Tian even specially mobilized a helicopter to be on standby to prevent the attacker from escaping. Late at night, the research facility was quiet. Other than the occasional chirping of insects, no other sounds could be heard. Contrary to the peaceful environment, all the guards were on high alert and ready for battle, not daring to slack off in the slightest. However, just when everyone was watching intently, a figure dressed in white suddenly appeared near the research facility. After a few casual glances, he let out a cold laugh and easily passed through the heavily guarded defense line. He then skillfully avoided the surveillance cameras in the research facility and silently appeared in the room where the meteoric metal and the forging materials were stored. This person's series of movements were as smooth as flowing water. None of the patrolling guards nearby noticed him. Even the surveillance array that Xiao Chen set up was completely silent. The person glanced at the meteoric metal and did not immediately take it away. In fact, he did not even touch it. Instead, he continued to look around the room for something. Not long after, the person found a hidden door in the room that was hidden very well. Walking up to the hidden door, the person took a closer look and discovered that this secret door required a password, a fingerprint scan, and a retina scan before it could be opened. Chapter 820. The man smiled slightly and his expression was full of disdain. He waved his hand casually and there was a very slight, click, sound. The secret door opened. There was a lonely stone table inside. On the stone table, there was a document. It was stamped with the word, confidential, in red and sealed. Ignoring the seal, the man directly tore it up and flipped through a few pages of the document. He nodded with satisfaction and put the document into his satchel. Then, he took out an ordinary stone and walked out of the secret door. When he came in front of the extraterrestrial meteoric iron, the man gently shook the stone in his hand. Suddenly, with a thunderous movement, the stone in his hand became the extraterrestrial meteoric iron. The original ordinary stone was now placed in the place where the meteoric iron had been placed. If anyone was present, they would be surprised and open their mouths because the man's movement was too fast. It felt as if with just a slight shake, the two stones had changed positions. The man slowly put the extraterrestrial meteoric iron into his satchel and then walked out of the room calmly. It seemed that he was ready to leave the research institute. After taking 2 steps, the figure suddenly stopped. He stared at the monitoring formation that Xiaofan had set up and murmured with interest, "Oh? He actually did something secretly? That saves me a lot of trouble." The man looked around leisurely as if he did not find the formation. He swaggered over the formation. Although he did not know what the formation was, there was an obvious fluctuation of aura here. It should be something set up by Devil Chi. It seemed that it had something to do with Xiaofan. Originally, he wanted to find a camera and shake it after he succeeded, but that would feel too obvious. It was better now. He pretended not to notice the fluctuation and walked directly over. "He's coming." At the same time, Xiaofan found something strange in the formation and immediately rushed to the place where he had set up the formation. He really came." Hearing the movement in the distance, the man said with a sneer. Then, he used his movement technique and disappeared into the boundless darkness. As Xiaofan sprinted, he released his divine sense and locked onto the white dot in the distance. However, Xiaofan was a little puzzled. Wasn't this person showing off a little too much? When committing a crime in the middle of the night, she didn't wear night clothes. Instead, she wore white clothes like a female ghost. Wouldn't that allow others to see her clearly? However, the white-robed man's speed was very fast. Since Xiaofan had already left the research institute, he didn't care. He directly brought out his flying sword and chased after the white-robed man at lightning speed. However, after chasing for a short distance, Xiaofan felt that something was wrong. Why did that person's speed seem to be getting slower and slower? I didn't hear that researching everything would injure him. Could it be that they had set a trap to lure him into it? However, regardless of whether there was a trap ahead, Xiaofan could only pursue it. In the blink of an eye, the distance between the two of them was getting closer and closer. Xiaofan had been looking down the whole time. At this time, he could already see the back of the man dressed in ancient clothes on the road. The strange thing was that the man also stopped at the same time and no longer ran forward. Instead, he looked around. "Stop looking around. Are you looking for me?" Xiaofan put away his flying sword and directly jumped down from the sky. He stared coldly at the man in front of him. Looking at the man's appearance, he was the one who discovered the monitoring array on Ling Qianshue's clothes a few days ago. From the way Yukio and Ling Qianshue addressed him, it seemed that he was called Young Master Xing. "You actually have a flying magic weapon?" Young Master Xing was very puzzled. Although flying magic weapons could not be said to be rare in the inner martial world, they were quite rare in the outer martial world, let alone the secular world. Where did this guy get it? Why are you asking so many questions? Hand over the thing you stole, Young Master Xing. Xiaofan was too lazy to answer and said expressionlessly. Although Xiaofan knew that this guy was from the inner martial arts circle and his skills were definitely extraordinary, the reason why Xiaofan dared to say such a thing was that this guy was not fighting or running away. He must have some other plan. Therefore, Xiaofan decided to be more stubborn. Huh? You actually know who I am? Young Master Xing was slightly taken aback. He thought of the hidden demonic qi and the demonic qi on Ling Qianxue that night. He couldn't help but laugh coldly. Xiaofan, looks like you do have some skills. I have underestimated you. You are in the realm of the demon general perfection, right? Stop talking nonsense. Since you can't outrun me, then hand over the thing. I don't have time to stand here and talk nonsense with you. Xiaofan stretched out his hand. Xiaofan was not stupid enough to make a move. He did not know the strength of young Master Xing. If he acted rashly, he would very likely be at a disadvantage. Moreover, young Master Xing's strange behavior of slowing down made Xiaofan feel very suspicious. Since the thing was already in his hands, he did not want to run away immediately. Instead, he slowed down to wait for the pursuers. This young Master Xing did not seem to be such a stupid person. Therefore, this further proved that they had ulterior motives. However, a sneak attack was still possible. You still want to ask me for the thing? But I am very doubtful if you have the ability. You bastard. Young Master Xing was thinking about how to carry out his plan without being seen through by Xiaofan, but he suddenly cursed. It turned out that Xiaofan did not say anything and directly threw an ice ball at young Master Xing. Although he was given a fright, young Master Xing was quite agile and managed to dodge in time. Feeling the extremely cold ice ball brush past him, young Master Xing secretly rejoiced. If he had not dodged it, he would have been frozen into a popsicle. Not bad at dodging. Looks like you practice a lot in the circus. Xiaofan mocked. His left hand threw out another ice ball technique, while his right hand threw out an ice ball technique. The two ice balls attacked young Master Xing from different angles. Of course, Xiaofan didn't dare to use the true Samadhi fire and the fire of the underworld. The extraterrestrial meteoric iron and the forging materials were still with young Master Xing. If he were to accidentally set them on fire, they would probably be burnt in an instant. At that time, he would be screwed. When young Master Xing dodged the ice balls, he only revealed the strength of a level 7 demon general. With Xiaofan's current strength, he could easily kill him. However, he did not underestimate his opponent because of this. After all, the other party came from the inner martial arts world. Who knew if he had any trump cards? And according to young Master Xing's casual words, you are at the great circle of the demon general realm, right? This explained many problems. This kind of surprised and disdainful tone, how could his strength be lower than this? This guy must be hiding his strength on purpose. Actually, he was secretly planning something. I say, are you done? Don't you have any serious moves? Is there any point in using these ice ball techniques? Are you addicted to it? You are the one in the circus. Young Master Xing gritted his teeth in anger. He used the strength of a level 7 demon general to dodge left and right in a sorry state. He originally wanted to find an opportunity to carry out his plan, but Xiaofan just had to continuously throw these harmless ice balls at him. He could only dodge and not counterattack. This damned guy, he was clearly planning to capture him alive. Oh, then I will stop playing. Watch out. Xiaofan saw that this guy was not fighting back. This was a good opportunity. So he suddenly attacked. With a dark flame palm and the strength of a golden core cultivator, he slammed it towards young Master Xing's chest. Humph. You are just a demon general. What? You are actually a demon king. Young Master Xing was about to mock him when he suddenly felt Xiaofan's strength. He was extremely shocked. Previously, he heard that when Xiaofan participated in the selection for the outer martial arts world, wasn't he only a level 6 demon general? That was why he purposely controlled his cultivation to be at level 7 demon general. Who would have thought that the other party was already a demon king? Seeing that Xiao Chen's dark flame palm was about to hit him, young Master Xing's body trembled in a moment of desperation. He directly revealed his true strength. It was the peak of level 10 demon king. However, the moment he revealed it, young Master Xing was dumbfounded on the spot. He was thinking of finding a move to lose to Xiao Chen without revealing any flaws, so that Xiao Chen could snatch away the item. In the end, in his nervousness, he actually unconsciously revealed his true cultivation. It was impossible for them to proceed according to the plan. A great perfection stage demon king lost to a first-level demon king? Too careless. Young Master Xing regretted it. Sigh, it was all because of this bastard Xiao Chen. At this moment, Xiao Chen also felt young Master Xing's peak of level 10 demon king strength. His expression changed greatly. However, there was no turning back. His dark flame palm was approaching young Master Xing. It was too late for him to change his move. Seeing that young Master Xing was suddenly stunned, Xiao Chen simply did not dodge and directly struck out with his palm. While young Master Xing was in a daze, Xiao Chen's dark flame palm ruthlessly smashed into his chest. However, the next moment, Xiao Chen was also stunned for a moment. This was because he realized that the feeling in his palm was a little strange. Why did it feel like a soft ball? Ah! Young Master Xing groaned. His face was red as he took a few steps back. Although she had demonic qi to protect her body, and Xiao Chen's mere level 1 demon king strength could not do any harm to her, young Master Xing was extremely angry and embarrassed at this moment. He wanted to tear Xiao Chen into pieces. This lecher, you can hit anywhere, but you have to hit my chest. Young Master Xing glared at Xiao Chen hatefully. However, he realized that Xiao Chen was also staring at her blankly. He looked down at his palm, then up at her chest, looking like a silly pig. Seeing this scene, although young Master Xing was furious, an idea suddenly flashed through her mind. For this mission, this was a rare opportunity. She was now a demon king perfection. It was simply impossible for her to lose to Xiao Chen fair and square. However, now that such an accident happened, she might as well pretend to be shy and go with the flow and lose. Thinking of this, young Master Xing made a prompt decision. While Xiao Chen was still in a daze, she pretended to lean back and fall to the ground. The bag that was originally on her body also fell to the side. Chapter 821. Okay. Since that's the case, let's go with the original plan. Go back to the sect first. Once you're back, let's spread the news and proceed with the next step. At that time, we'll act according to the situation. Elder Sun thought for a moment before saying, I'll go make the arrangements. Humph. Young Master Xing, oh no, young Lady Xing was still sitting on the ground. He snorted coldly and ignored Xiao Chen. In his heart, however, he was anxiously muttering to himself, are you stupid? Why do you care about me? Hurry up and take your bag and run. Still asking so many questions, I've never seen someone as stupid as you. Was it because he touched her breasts that she ran away out of embarrassment? Isn't this a little too exaggerated? He's a demon from the inner martial arts world, why is he behaving like a little girl? This is too weird. Only me and the other person in charge of the research, Professor Zhao, know about it. His character has been checked by the mysterious investigation department, so there shouldn't be any problems. Su Inda replied casually as he examined the secret manual. Seeing that he had regained these 2 items, he was already extremely grateful towards Xiao Chen. There was also a secret door in the room that was wide open. Inside, there was a stone table, but it was empty. It should have been the secret manual. Ling Tian picked up his phone and frowned, even the database doesn't have any information on young Master Xing. This is not good. Seeing that Xiaochen wasn't talking about him, Su Yinda's expression softened. Since that's the case, I'll secretly investigate the people in the research center. If I find anything wrong, I'll let you know immediately. Xiaochen nodded. Suddenly, a melodious ringtone sounded. It was Ling Tian's phone ringing. It was a message from the headquarters. This person is young Master Xing. From the inner martial arts world? I'll get someone to investigate. Ling Tian pointed at the man on the screen and asked. Then, he cut out the recording and sent it back to the relevant department of the Mysterious Investigation Department for analysis. Looking at young Master Xing's appearance now, he did look a little feminine. However, Xiaochen previously thought that he was just a pretty boy. Xiaochen had never been good at comforting girls. He scratched his head and said, I didn't know you were a girl, or else I wouldn't touch you there. Xiaochen had already predicted that this would happen. However, he didn't want to embarrass Ling Tian, so he didn't stop him. After all, Miss Xing was someone from the inner martial arts world. Don't be fooled by the fact that the Supernatural Investigation Bureau seemed to be everywhere. When it came to the control of the inner martial arts world, it was still extremely limited. Moreover, she was wearing a mask. This way. Let's go together. Su Yinda immediately understood Ling Tian's intentions and led him and Xiaochen towards his office. Thank you, Elder Sunday. After Xing said this, she hung up the phone. She looked in the direction Xiaochen left and sneered. Then, she turned around and disappeared from the road. Very good. How did you do it? An old voice asked from the other end of the phone. Su Yinda was also overjoyed. He patted Xiaochen's shoulder and said, Good. Very good. Beautifully done. I didn't misjudge you. Xiaochen, you're not suspecting me, are you? I'm the one in charge of keeping the meteoric metal and the forging information. If I wanted to steal it, I would have done so a long time ago. Su Yinda's expression froze. Unless he can bypass the protective metal of the secret door and destroy the wiring in the secret door, Su Yinda said. There's also the place where the meteoric metal is placed. There's a gravity-sensing device underneath. Unless he swaps the two rocks at a speed that even the device can't detect, the alarm will definitely be triggered. Xiaochen had only taken 2 steps when Su Yinda and Ling Tian heard the sound and looked over. After Xiaochen disappeared, a figure appeared on the road in the distance. It was little Miss Xing, who had left and returned. It sounds like he's an expert. What's the background of the attacker? Did the surveillance cameras in the research center capture his appearance? Ling Tian took in a breath of cold air as he asked in a low voice. Xiaochen regained his senses and hurriedly waved his hands. How could that be possible? Uncle Su, you're thinking too much. You were with me the entire night, so of course I wouldn't suspect you. I'm just thinking about the other people in the research center. Humph. Dead Xiaochen, I'll definitely take my revenge one day. Miss Xing rubbed her chest and stomped her feet angrily. She then took out a phone and dialed a number. Miss Xing was so angry that her vision turned black. Since you're not going to run, then I'll run, right? It's good that you're back. Ling Tian let out a long sigh. Luckily, he was smart enough to let Xiaochen come over. Otherwise, there would be no way he could resolve this matter peacefully. Xiaochen was even more dumbfounded. What the hell was going on? How did a man turn into a chick with a single palm strike from me? I didn't think about it at all. If I knew that this young noble Xing was a chick, I wouldn't have hit his chest. I should have grabbed him. He couldn't understand. Even if Miss Xing was a girl, with her cultivation at the peak of the 10th level of the Devil King realm, she was more than enough to crush me. Why did I have to run? No. Miss Xing hurriedly replied. Xiaochen watched as Miss Xing ran further and further away. He opened his mouth but didn't know what to say. He could only shake his head gloomily. Hey! Don't cry. Xiaofan didn't know if he should walk over now, so he tried to speak up. Ling Tian had rushed over after knowing that the research center was attacked. He was only slightly ahead of Xiaofan. Xiaofan nodded his head absent-mindedly. He then muttered to himself, looks like, this guy not only knows the situation inside the research center like the back of his hand, he even knows about the existence of the gravity sensor. He even destroyed the signal of the pinhole camera. Could it be, he has a spy? There is, but it's all from the back. However, I asked someone to install a pinhole camera in the place where the forging materials are stored. It was able to capture some images. Su Inda walked in front of his computer and tapped on a few keys to open the surveillance screen. While Su Inda and Ling Tian were inspecting the materials, Xiaofan suddenly asked, Uncle Su, let me ask you something. Apart from you, who else in the research center knows about the room with the meteoric metal? What about the secret door? How do I open it? Xiaofan continued to ask. Miss Xing got up and angrily yelled at Xiaofan, I hate you. She then turned around and ran away, leaving only her back and the bag lying in the middle of the road. After entering the office, Xiaofan locked the door. He then took out the meteoric metal and forging materials from the bag and placed them on the table. Only I know the password of the secret door. My fingerprint and retina have to be scanned to open it. Su Inda put down the booklet and shook his head in confusion. Logically speaking, if there is a mistake in one of the steps or if it is forcefully opened, the forging materials inside will definitely be burned instantly. I found a chance to lose to him, then the things were in his hands. Miss Xing briefly explained and omitted the details. She didn't want others to know that she was attacked. I'm fine. Everything is intact. Xiaofan nodded. Not bad. Elder son praised with satisfaction and asked casually, did you encounter any trouble? Your identity wasn't exposed, right? Did he have any doubts? Xiaofan was secretly surprised. What is the concept of a speed that even the device can't recognize? Even if I'm already a Demon King level cultivator, I'm afraid I can't do this. That chick is a Demon King perfect stage, but she's actually so powerful? He only appeared in the picture for a few seconds, then the camera lost its signal. There was only a bunch of snowflakes left in the picture. Looking at the bag on the ground, Xiaofan took 2 steps forward and picked up the bag. He opened it and checked. He found that the meteoric metal and forging materials were intact, so he didn't think much about it. He took the bag and ran in the direction of the research institute. It didn't take long for Xiaofan to return to the research institute. Looking at Mr. Xing, who was crying in front of him, Xiaofan was a little speechless. Didn't I just touch your chest? You're a Demon King perfect stage level 10. How can my little strength make you cry? Even if you cry, you don't have to cry like this, right? Due to the camera angle and lighting, the surveillance could only vaguely see a person dressed in ancient clothes, but his appearance couldn't be seen clearly. He only felt that his movements were full of pride. Elder son, it's done. After the call was connected, Miss Xing's tone changed and she said respectfully. You're back? Are you hurt? Seeing that it was Xiaofan, Ling Tian quickly greeted him and asked softly, did you get the meteoric metal and forging materials back? Oh. But I just saw that the place where the materials were stored in the secret door didn't seem to have any burn marks. Is there any other way to take out the materials intact? Xiaofan remembered that there was only a bare stone platform in the secret room. Sob 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 sob. After falling to the ground, Miss Xing didn't even stand up. She sat on the ground and cried. She stopped at the farthest place and saw Xiaofan take the bag and leave. Only then did the big stone in her heart fall to the ground and she let out a long sigh of relief. On the side of the meteoric metal platform, there were 2 people discussing something in a low voice. It was Su Inda and Ling Tian. Director Su, where is your office? Ling Tian was happy and didn't want to stay in this messy place anymore. It was irritating to the eyes. Actually, Xiaochen wasn't interested in restoring her appearance. This Miss Xing was obviously wearing a human skin mask. Even if she was restored, it wouldn't be her. He came to the room where the meteoric metal was stored and saw that the room was in a mess. On the platform where the meteoric metal was originally placed, there was an ordinary stone of the same size as the meteoric metal. Chapter 822. After chatting with Ling Tian and Su Yinda for a while longer, Xiaochen took the meteoric metal and the forging materials and bid them farewell, saying that he was going to find a place to rest. After sitting down, Xiaochen carefully thought of the entire process from the start of the surveillance to his return. He could not help but feel a little confused. All of a sudden, Xiaochen thought of a daring possibility. Could it be that young Master Xing did this on purpose? Purposely letting me discover her existence? But why would she do this? Although the meteoric metal was indeed a rare metal from another planet, with the forging materials as a reference, there was no need for her to waste so much time. If this were to continue, he would have to leave for Beijing soon. If it was in the past, he could directly use the identity of Yang Jiannan to secretly obtain the meteoric metal. Without anyone knowing, even if someone were to ask, Yang Jiannan would be the one to take the blame. It would have nothing to do with him at all. Ling Tian knew that Xiaochen had been spying on him for an entire night and had fought with someone. He would definitely be exhausted, so he happily let Xiaochen go. He instructed Xiaochen to rest in the research facility and not to go out again. Could it be that there was a problem with the flame of the underworld? His strength was not enough, so he forged for an entire night without any results. He had been drooling over the meteoric metal for a long time and was too embarrassed to ask for it previously. After all, he was a true member of the Supernatural Investigation Department. Yes, Master. The flame of the underworld responded and left Xiaochen's body to analyze the forging materials. That's right, the forging materials are the most important and cannot be leaked. Thus, I let you use the meteoric metal as a cover. Ling Tian nodded his head. It seemed like Xiaochen's comprehension ability was not bad. What? Full circle of the Devil King stage level 10. Ling Tian was incomparably shocked. He hurriedly stood up and paced back and forth. Lowering his head, he pondered for a moment. As though he had made a decision, he solemnly said, Xiaochen, I have an important task for you. I hope you will not reject it. All right. We will do as you say. Ling Tian nodded his head. He had originally wanted Song Huawu to accompany Xiaochen. However, after hearing Xiaochen's explanation, he felt that it made sense, so he didn't insist. All right. Although Xiaochen was a little surprised, he still nodded. He pointed to the meteoric iron on the table and asked, Do you want to send this meteoric iron as well? The meteorite in front of him was an irregular polyhedron. Its surface was dark gray, and there were many small pits on it. There were also specks of light scattered on it. From afar, it looked as beautiful as the starry sky. Could it be that she was demonstrating to him? She could have left quietly, but she chose to step into the range of the surveillance formation to show that she was much stronger than him? This was simply a moron. That chick shouldn't be so brainless, right? As the saying goes, big breasts have no brains. Just now when he hit them, they didn't seem to be very big. After an unknown amount of time, Xiaochen finished cultivating. He spat out a mouthful of turbid air and opened his eyes to look outside the window. The sky was already bright. Let's leave tomorrow in case there are any problems. I will get someone to prepare a car for you. Ling Tian picked up the phone, dialed a number, and gave a few instructions to the other party. Ling Tian was indeed a little worried. According to Xiaochen's description, there were already people at the Demon King perfection stage appearing in the secular world. If he let Xiaochen escort the information to Yanjing, he would probably encounter a lot of trouble along the way. Just now, that chick Xing had successfully succeeded. With her strength at the Demon King perfection stage, if she wanted to leave, she definitely wouldn't be discovered by my formation. Then why did she make such an unnecessary move to let me notice her? Turning his head to look at the table again, Xiaochun found that the meteoric iron was still the same as before, and the fire of the underworld was still being refined at a steady pace. Putting away his thoughts, Xiaochun carefully took out the meteoric iron from his bag. He was ecstatic. Xiaochun explained the process of fighting with young Master Xing in detail. Who would have thought that the wheel of fortune would turn and this thing still fell into his hands in the end? Right now, Xiaochun was extremely at ease. Since Ling Tian had already said so, then he could only refuse. This could also be considered as allowing this piece of meteoric metal to be used to its fullest potential. What do you mean? Xiaochun was stunned. Could it be that when I snatched back the forging information, it was swapped by that chick Xing? If I hand over the meteoric iron at that time, it should be able to buffer and buy time for Xiaochun to escape. This can also be considered letting this meteoric iron play its best role. Xiaochun opened his mouth and wanted to stop him, but after thinking about it, he decided not to. Actually, he could just fly over, but it would be too shocking and it wouldn't be good to scare people. It was more suitable to drive. Very well, then take this and help me refine a flying sword. Xiaochun pointed at the meteoric iron and let the flame of the 9 underworlds take over. He then sat by the side and closed his eyes to cultivate. Seeing that Ling Tian was at a loss, Xiaochun said, "Bureau Chief Ling, I suspect that the person in the surveillance footage is not her real appearance. She is very likely to be a woman. Just now when I chased after her." After thinking for a long time, Xiaochun still could not figure out the reason. Thus, he gave up. Since he could not figure it out, then he would not think about it for now. He should focus on the matter at hand first. So that's the case, that means this thing is useless? Xiaochun was overjoyed. Doesn't this mean that I can use the meteoric iron as I please? He immediately started to plan in his mind. After a while, the flame of the 9 underworlds shook, as though it had understood something. "Master, I know how to refine it." "That's not necessary." Ling Tian waved his hands. "We are only using the meteoric iron to do some research and to verify some unique methods of smelting metals. Once the experiment is successful, we can apply this method to other rare metals." Luckily, there were many dormitories for the employees in the research institute. All kinds of facilities and furniture were available. Xiaochun simply found an empty room and locked the door. Although he had made great progress in his studies after becoming a cultivator, when faced with a bunch of physics and chemistry formulas that he had never seen before, as well as various parameters such as heat control and intensity mentioned in the files, Xiaochun still felt like he was reading a book from the heavens. He was having a headache. Yes. Ling Tian nodded his head, then shook his head. It's not completely useless. There is still some use to it, but it is not very useful. I'm mainly considering that you might meet with experts along the way. If you don't hand over something, the other party might not let you off so easily. The research on the meteoric iron has been completed. Originally, we were going to use the internet to send the forging information to the headquarters in Beijing. Ling Tian said in a low voice. But considering that the hacking technology is very advanced, especially when the research institute might have an insider, we cannot take this risk. So, I want you to personally go and escort the forging information. After receiving the order, the flame of the underworld did not dare to delay. According to the parameters provided in the documents, it started to forge the meteoric iron. Actually, Xiaochun wanted to get the meteoric iron for himself. Naturally, he did not want anyone else to go with him. What if the other party found out that he did not hand over the meteoric iron and asked him to go back? "I say, Nethery, are you forging a flying sword or a roast duck?" Are you slacking off or taking a nap? It's already been a few hours, why is the meteoric iron still the same? What happened to flying swords? Xiao Chen was a little displeased. I understand. The key is not to leak the forging information, right? Although Xiao Chen looked calm on the surface, he was overjoyed. It seemed like he could find a chance to forge the meteoric iron into a flying sword. If someone asked, he would just say that it was stolen. After all, that was Ling Tian's instructions. No one would be able to find fault with it. In that case, could there be other reasons? Xiao Chen was deep in thought. Nethery, come out and take a look. Do you understand this thing? Helpless, Xiao Chen could only summon the flame of the underworld and ask for help. Xiao Chen was startled. What was going on? However, he still responded. Ling Tian had already put down the phone. He suddenly thought of something and turned to ask, "Oh right, do you want me to send a few more people? As your assistant, we can take care of you when there's trouble." I'm innocent, master. There's definitely no problem with my abilities. The flame of the underworld looked at Xiao Chen's unfriendly gaze and shivered. It naturally knew what Xiao Chen was thinking. It could only helplessly explain, it's not that my abilities aren't good enough. It's just that, this forging information doesn't seem right. Xiao Chen thought for a while and shook his head. No need. It's not that there are too many people. If I meet an ordinary opponent, I can deal with them. If I meet an expert, I won't be able to take care of them. What I mean is, there seems to be a problem with the parameters in this forging information. The flame of the underworld said carefully, afraid that Xiao Chen would get angry again. Picking up the meteoric iron from the table and passing it to Xiao Chen, Ling Tian continued, this meteoric iron is an extraterrestrial material. It's extremely rare and cannot be used on a large scale. So, bring it with you. If you meet a strong opponent who wants to snatch it, just give it to him. This can also divert the opponent's attention and reduce the pressure on you. That's impossible. When he brought the information back last night, Su Yinda had personally checked every page. If it was really swapped, he would definitely be able to tell. After admiring the meteoric iron for a while, Xiao Chen took out the forging information. After flipping through a few pages, he couldn't help but furrow his brows. Got it. When do I leave? Xiao Chen asked after keeping the meteoric iron and forging information. Su Yinda also nodded his head. The research center has already completed the work on the meteoric iron. Chapter 823. He had just received a text message and knew that the people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau had sent the car to the Research Institute. It was the same modified Jetta as before, and the location of the research base headquarters had been set on the driving computer. He only needed to drive according to the navigation. There's a problem with the information? It can't be. This is the result of Professor Su's research. There can't be a problem. Xiao Chen was a little puzzled when he heard that. This. Xiao Chen was speechless. Sect leader Feng, what's going on? Elder Feng asked in a probing manner. In fact, the Mystic Yin sect's mental cultivation method and martial arts techniques were not outstanding in the inner martial arts world. They could even be considered a relatively weak sect. However, the sect had preserved the soul of frost that had been passed down since ancient times, as well as half a sheepskin scroll that recorded the method of use. This was the ancient book of the sect that Elder Yu had mentioned. Previously, when they participated in the spring festival auction of the outer martial arts world, the Mystic Yin sect was originally the representative sect of the outer martial arts world. They also wanted to rob the meteoric iron along the way, but they were fooled by Xiao Chen's smiling Maitreya. In the end, they had no choice but to return empty-handed. However, there was a fly in the ointment. The sheepskin scroll did not mention how to forge the meteoric iron. Luo Qifeng had actually collected a few pieces of the meteoric iron a long time ago. However, he had tried countless methods, but he could not forge it no matter what. So, sect leader wants to wait and see, then will be the mantis stalking the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind? Elder Yu asked cautiously. Among them, the mystic Yin sect was the most anxious. According to the half of the sheepskin scroll, as long as the soul of frost could be melted into the weapon made of the meteoric iron, then the weapon would be completely new, and the power of the mystic Yin sect's martial arts techniques would be greatly enhanced. Damn, why didn't you say so earlier? You made me waste a whole night. Xiaochen was so angry that his teeth itched, but he could not flare up. He could only curse in his heart. This time, he was really tricked by the Elder Heaven Ancestor. Elder Yu, have you confirmed the source of the information? The sect leader of the Mystic Yin sect, Luo Qifeng, stood in the hall and asked with a serious face. Elder Yu had gone out to make a call just now to find the representative sect of the Xianyin sect in the outer martial arts world. He had ordered them to send people to deal with Xiaochen. Furthermore, even if this information was fake and Ling Tian had sent him to the headquarters of the research facility in Beijing, he could have told him everything. Great. I was worried that I couldn't find a chance to take revenge. Xiaochen killed Leng Youxiang and Chen Yuhan. I've wanted to tear him to pieces for a long time. After hearing Feng Canyan's words, Elder Feng gritted his teeth and said, even if sect leader Feng didn't say anything, I would have taken his life sooner or later to pay tribute to my two beloved disciples. Hehe, who told you to give up? Others might not know how to refine the extraterrestrial meteoric iron, but your master knows. Elder Heaven Ancestor said leisurely, it's actually not that difficult. You just have to modify a few parameters in the forging data. Could it be that the Research Institute came up with fake information and even deceived him? But it didn't seem to be necessary. Why would they do that? That's enough, Xiaochen. Stop thinking about it. I've already made it very clear that this information is used to smelt other rare metals. It's just a method of using the extraterrestrial meteoric iron. Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice rang out. Elder Yu shuddered. Before he could speak, Luo Qifeng reiterated, in any case, no matter what price we have to pay, we have to snatch the forging method before the other sections. Do you understand? If we don't get it, you know the consequences. He could only watch as the extraterrestrial meteoric iron and the frost soul were right in front of him, but he had no idea how to forge them, let alone fuse them together. How could Luo Qifeng not be anxious? That was why he said that he had to snatch the forging method from Xiaochen at all costs. All right. I understand Elder Yu's meaning. Don't worry, we will definitely hand over the extraterrestrial meteoric iron and the forging method. Feng Canyon put down the phone that Elder Yu had called. His face was a little twisted, scaring Elder Feng who was beside him. Luo Qifeng, on the other hand, turned around and went to his own secret room. I understand. I'll send someone to do it now. Elder Yu felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave. He quickly agreed and left the room. He picked up his phone and dialed a number to start making arrangements. All right. That's the only way. Xiaochen nodded helplessly. He put away the information, washed up, ate some breakfast, and was ready to leave. Situ Qitian, that old bastard, purposely leaked the whereabouts of the extraterrestrial meteoric iron and the forging method so that the sects in the martial arts world would fight over it. Then, he would reap the benefits. What a scheme. Luo Qifeng coldly analyzed Awakening Sect's thoughts. Yes. He clearly told you, but you still used it to forge the extraterrestrial meteoric iron. Aren't you just looking for trouble? Even if the two of you refined it for 100 years, it would still be useless. Elder Heaven Ancestor said angrily. Oh. So, Elder Feng is going to do it yourself? Feng Canyon was a little surprised, but considering that Xiaochen was a level 6 demon general, it was understandable. In fact, Elder Heaven Ancestor only knew a part of the forging method. He didn't know everything. After all, even the people in the martial arts world didn't know the method. Otherwise, they wouldn't have come to rob. However, according to the rules, the people in the martial arts world couldn't interfere with the secular world. Therefore, the disciples of the Black Moon sect couldn't directly rob Xiaochen's things. The Extreme Ice sect was the representative sect of the Black Moon sect in the martial arts world, and Feng Canyun was the sect leader of the Extreme Ice sect. Ever since he knew that his beloved disciple was killed by Xiaochen, he had been looking for a chance to take revenge. Now, the time had finally come. Public and private grudges, he would settle them all together. After getting into the car, Xiaochen opened the GPS and checked the direction. After confirming the direction, he drove in the direction of Yanjing. Sect Master means that our sect's ancient records say that the meteoric iron can be used with the Arctic frost. Elder Yu's heart stirred, thinking that he had guessed the Sect Master's intentions. Just as he was about to say it, Luo Qifeng waved his hand and interrupted him. Xiaochen doesn't just have the strength of a sixth-layer devil general. I heard that he is very cunning. Not only is he the new sect leader of the demon sect, but he is also a member of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. If Elder Fong wants to go alone, I'm afraid it won't be good. The person who spoke was another Elder Liao from the Extreme Ice sect. He was also Feng Canyun's military advisor. He moved the switch in the corner of the wall. With a click, a secret door opened in the secret room. There was a cold air coming from the door. In the middle of the door, there was a box made of dark iron. I see. Xiaochen immediately reacted and quickly asked, Elder Heaven Ancestor, what should we do? I was hoping to use this meteoric iron to refine an awesome flying sword. We can't just give up like this, right? Of course, it wasn't that they had to snatch it, because the sect still had some in stock. Therefore, the previous matter was left unsettled. But this time. Not long after, the news that Xiaochen had the meteoric iron and forging materials spread throughout the inner martial world. The entire inner martial world was in an uproar. People from all the sects were rubbing their palms and getting ready to send people to snatch it. Sect leader, then what should we do now? Elder Yu said hesitantly. Without the sect leader's permission, they didn't dare to make a move. It was said that the other sects were also in a heated discussion. As for that Xiaochen, I've asked around. He has the strength of a sixth-layer demon general. Furthermore, he has taken on the position of the new demon sect master of the outer pugilistic world's demon sect. He also holds an important position in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Elder Yu recounted all the information he had gathered. Inner martial world. Oh. No wonder he can come and go freely in the secular world with his demon general strength. It turns out that the Supernatural Investigation Bureau is supporting him. Luo Qifeng smiled faintly, his expression a little disdainful. Luo Qifeng put on a serious face and exuded a burst of cold air. He said solemnly, word by word, presumptuous. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Now the other sects are definitely watching, but we can't wait. We have to act immediately. As for the type of car, Xiaochen didn't care. After all, they were escorting confidential materials. The more low-key the car, the better. Moreover, the performance of this Jetta was not inferior to high-end sports cars. He had already experienced it. Moreover, when he encountered a strong enemy, he would definitely hand over the fake materials, instead of just handing over the meteoric iron. Luo Qifeng carefully opened the black iron box. Inside lay a transparent ice soul stone. It was the sect treasure of the Xianyin sect, the frost ice soul. Xiaochen scratched his head, as if he understood something. Elder Heaven Ancestor, according to you, we can't use this method to smelt the meteoric iron? Elder Heaven Ancestor thought for a while and said, how about this? You keep this information as a reference. Wait for me to combine what I know with the information, then I'll tell you the details. Feng Kenyon took a deep breath and said in a low voice to the other elder, the people above have sent a message. We must get both items, and Xiao Chen must die. Reporting to Sect Master, the news was released by the people of Awakening Heaven Sect. Elder Yu respectfully reported. You didn't ask. Elder Heaven Ancestor said matter-of-factly, I thought you wanted to test your little brother, Nethery. Of course not. Luo Qifeng denied flatly and looked at Elder Yu sternly. You should know that if the forging method is obtained by the other sects, it can only be used to forge ordinary weapons. But to the Xianyin sect, it is the most important thing. Oh, then who is this Xiao Chen? Luo Qifeng had been cultivating in seclusion all year round, so he didn't know much about the outside world. Once Xing Girl returned to the sect, she immediately spread the news. Chapter 824. He's just a level 6 demon general. When Elder Feng heard this, he thought that Elder Liao was looking down on him and was making sarcastic remarks. He couldn't help but glare at Elder Liao hatefully. He immediately circulated his mental cultivation method and released his strength as a peak 9th layer devil general. He coldly said, Elder Liao is worrying too much. If I want to kill Xiao Chen, it would be as easy as stepping on an ant. Hehe, Elder Feng, you're really naive. Do you really want to fight against all the experts from the other sects in the outer martial world? Elder Liao sneered and asked indifferently. He stared at Elder Feng as if he was looking at an idiot. This. Elder Feng was slightly taken aback, but he quickly understood what Elder Liao meant. The news that Xiao Chen had the meteoric iron and the forging materials must have spread throughout the inner martial world by now. The other sects were not stupid. They would definitely send their representatives to fight for the materials just like the Xianyin faction. By then, even if Elder Feng managed to snatch the materials, he would not be able to withstand the attacks from the other sects. Alright, how about this? Elder Liao and Elder Feng, you two should bring a few disciples with you and go with us. If anything happens, we can take care of each other. Feng Canyon waved his hand to stop the two from arguing. He had long since become accustomed to the competition between these two people. These two elders had equal status in the sect, and their authority was similar. Both of them sharpened their brains to climb up, so no matter what happened, they would undermine each other and ridicule each other in secret. For example, the matter of snatching the meteoric iron and the information. If one thought about it carefully, one could understand that if they could get their hands on those things, then Feng Canyon would be rewarded and promoted as a direct disciple of the Xianyin faction. It was highly likely that he would be able to enter the inner martial arts world to practice. His status would also be elevated to become an elder of the Xianyin faction. At that time, the position of the sect leader of the Extreme Ice faction would basically be ignored, and the sect leader would naturally choose a deputy sect leader from Elder Liao and Elder Feng, who had the highest authority. Therefore, both of them understood that this mission was related to their futures. That was why they were at odds with each other and wanted a share of the spoils. Killing Xiao Chen and taking revenge were secondary. Whether they could make use of this opportunity to become the sect leader of Extreme Ice sect was their real goal. Yes, sir. I'll send someone to investigate Xiao Chen's whereabouts. Having achieved his objective, Elder Liao was overjoyed. He quickly cupped his fist and bowed respectfully before leaving to carry out his mission. Now that he and Old Man Feng were on the same starting line, the rest would depend on their own abilities. Humph. Elder Feng also knew what Elder Liao was thinking, but he couldn't change the sect leader's decision, so he could only coldly snort in his heart and quickly follow. Xiao Chen didn't know that he had become a thorn in the side of all the sects in the outer martial arts world, or rather, a delicious cake. He was driving on the highway to Yanjing. After driving for a few hours, Xiao Chen saw the sign of a rest area on the road in front of him. He looked down at the dashboard and saw that the gas tank had turned red. He immediately drove to the rest area and wanted to go to the washroom. When he arrived at the gas station in the rest area, Xiaofan noticed that there was a long queue for the number 93 and 97 gasoline. Only the place for the number 98 gasoline was empty. No one was interested in it. After all, normal cars didn't have high requirements for gasoline, and 98 gasoline was a lot more expensive. Therefore, normal car owners wouldn't be willing to fill it up. Xiaofan thought for a while, then turned the steering wheel and drove directly to the place with the number 98 gasoline. Although he was driving a Volkswagen Jetta, the interior of the car had been modified. Its performance was not any worse than those luxury cars that cost millions. It was understandable that he needed better gasoline. Moreover, he didn't lack money at all. However, the other drivers in the queue looked at Xiaofan mockingly. They thought to themselves, how could such a lousy car be qualified to fill up with such good gasoline? It seemed that this guy must be a newbie. Only luxury cars were qualified to fill up 98 gasoline. The owner of this Volkswagen Jetta would definitely be scared to death by the price. He would cry and come back to fill up our gas. "Hello, sir. Welcome to our gas station. I'll give you a small suggestion. I don't think you need to fill up 98 gasoline. Just fill up 93 or 97. Not only is it cheaper, but the oil quality is not worse than 98. The staff of the gas station greeted him. When he saw that Xiaofan was driving a Volkswagen Jetta, he said with a smile. It wasn't that they didn't want to do business, but they were afraid that Xiaofan would make a fuss when he saw the price was too high. It would cause trouble instead, so they kindly reminded him. It's okay. I'm in a hurry. Just fill up 98. Fill it up for me. Xiaofan waved his hand. Okay, then please turn off the car and wait for a moment. Since the owner of the car didn't have any objections, the staff didn't say anything else. He gave Xiaofan a receipt and started to fill up the Volkswagen Jetta. Xiaofan took the receipt and swiped his card at the payment counter. He bought some mineral water and biscuits from the convenience store at the gas station. He planned to put them in the car to fill up his stomach when he was hungry. Then, he walked to the washroom. The car owners who were waiting to see Xiaofan make a fool of himself were all shocked. They couldn't tell. This kid is a nouveau riche. He didn't even blink when he filled up 98 gasoline. It must be known that 98 gasoline was much more expensive than 93 gasoline for the same amount of fuel. At this moment, a roaring engine sound could be heard. A Ferrari 458 sped into the rest area. The music in the car was so loud that it could shake the heavens. It drove directly in the direction of the gas station. With a beautiful drift, it stopped behind Xiaofan's Jetta without saying a word. In the driver's seat of the Ferrari sat a playboy with red lips, white teeth, and a face that looked like a playboy. The car owners were shocked again. A Ferrari 458. This was a top-grade luxury car with 98 fuel. After the car stopped, the playboy popped his head out of the car and shouted to the staff impatiently, "Hey! You, come and fill up the gas for me. Hurry up, I have something urgent to do." "Sir, I'm really sorry. The owner of the Volkswagen Jetta in front might be going to the washroom. Please wait for a moment. When he comes, he can move the car away and I can fill up the gas for you." The staff rushed over and said apologetically. The gas station in the rest area of the highway wasn't big to begin with. There was only one machine that supplied 98 gasoline. After all, it was rare to see a luxury car that could fill up 98 gasoline. Who knew that there would be two of them today? Moreover, one of them was a fake. The playboy looked forward and realized that there was indeed a Volkswagen Jetta parked in front of him. The playboy was instantly furious. He opened the door and jumped out of the car. He scolded, "Motherf***, I thought it was a good car. How dare you drive such a broken thing with 98 gasoline? Where did this bullsh *T come from? You really haven't seen the world. Helplessly, the playboy took out a cigarette. Just as he was about to light it, the staff hurriedly stopped him. Sir! This is a gas station, smoking is prohibited here. If you want to smoke, please go to the rest area in front. Oh my God, I almost forgot. The playboy was stunned for a moment before he reacted. He cursed a little gloomily and put away the cigarette and lighter. Then, he took out his phone and dialed a number. Hello, is this Yuchuan? Where are you? Why are you taking so long? A pleasant female voice came from the other end of the phone. However, she sounded a little unhappy. Miss Yiling. I'm really sorry, I'm refueling my Ferrari. I thought that it would be over soon. I didn't expect to be blocked by an idiot driving a Volkswagen Jetta. It's okay, just wait a little longer. I'll be done soon. Although the playboy named Yuchuan was apologizing, he deliberately said the words Ferrari very loudly. It was as if he was showing off his capital. However, this 5 million yuan car did have the capital to show off. Okay, then hurry up, the girl called Yiling said. She didn't want to say much. She directly hung up the phone. Okay. Do you want to eat something? F***ck. Yuchuan cursed. He was thinking of buying some snacks for Yiling to coax her. He did not expect that the other party would not give him the chance. She directly hung up. Yuchuan gripped his phone tightly. His eyes were vicious as he muttered to himself, little b***tch, don't think that you're so noble. I'll let you be proud for a few more days. When I get you in bed, I'll make you feel like you're in heaven. Yuchuan had suffered a setback at Yiling's hands. Furthermore, the owner of the Jetta had yet to arrive. Yuchuan, who was already impatient, became even more irritated. Depressed, he put away his phone and walked to the side of the Volkswagen Jetta. He lifted his leg and kicked the door. Dong! Beep 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 beep. Just as he kicked, an incomparably loud alarm sounded from the Volkswagen Jetta. Yuchuan, who was standing on the side, was startled and took 2 steps back. However, he quickly recovered and continued to kick the door angrily. Xiaofan had finished peeing at this time. When he was washing his hands, he heard the alarm of his Jetta outside the door. He immediately walked out of the washroom and looked over there. In the end, he found a young master standing beside his car, raising his leg and kicking the door forcefully. Xiaofan couldn't help but frown as he walked towards the Jetta. Motherf***, is this broken car yours? Yuchuan, who was kicking the door, saw a young man quickly walking towards him. He concluded that the young man was the owner of the car. He arrogantly shook his legs and shouted, "You have the face to add 98 to this thing? Look at what I'm driving." Xiaofan glanced at the Ferrari. He was completely unmoved. What's so great about a Ferrari? My Jetta is worth much more than yours. Chapter 825. When Yuchuan saw that Xiaofan did not react at all, he became even angrier. He stomped his foot and said, "Brat, you're in the way, do you know that? Hurry up and move the car away. I'm in a hurry to pick up my goddess." After saying that, Yuchuan raised his foot again, ready to kick him again. Oh! Xiaofan's expression did not change. He held the car key in his pocket and pressed a red button on it. Then, he looked at Yuchuan with an obedient expression. "Humph, hurry up and move." "Ah!" Yuchuan subconsciously kicked again. As soon as his kick landed on the car, he felt a violent electric current enter his body from the soles of his shoes. Yuchuan's whole body went numb. His whole body was suddenly flipped over and he fell flat on his back. What he did not know was that this broken car in front of him had not only been modified, but it could also release a high-voltage electric current when it was in danger. It could even electrocute someone who had ill intentions. However, what surprised Xiao Chen was that Shi Yuchuan was not knocked out by the powerful electric current. Instead, he was lying on the ground, his whole body trembling. His clothes had been burnt beyond recognition by the electric current, and there was a big hole in the bottom of the shoe that he used to kick the car. After a while, when the spasms subsided, Shi Yuchuan stood up, trembling and in a sorry state. From time to time, he would even twitch. Xiao Chen was a little surprised. Logically speaking, if an ordinary person was hit by the high-voltage electric current of this car, they would probably be unconscious for a few hours. Why was this guy not affected at all? F***CK. What kind of F***king car is this? Why is it electrocuting people? Shi Yuchuan finally recovered after a while. However, he found that Xiao Chen was looking at him curiously. He could not help but glare at Xiao Chen, pointing at his nose and scolding him. Xiao Chen's heart trembled. When Shi Yuchuan glared at him fiercely, his body unconsciously emitted the strength of a level 3 martial general. He thought to himself, so he's a cultivator. No wonder he didn't faint. It was just that his hair was standing up and his style had changed. However, since he knew that the other party was a cultivator, Xiao Chen felt that it was better to avoid trouble. After all, he still had a mission to complete, so he didn't want to waste too much time. Thus, he lightly said, "Oh, my car is a gasoline-electric hybrid. Maybe it's because the car is too old, so the anti-theft device is leaking electricity. Plus, you kicked it a few times, so it's probably broken. Forget it, you can leave. You don't have to compensate me. F***CKU. Did you drive yourself silly?" Shi Yuchuan raised his eyebrows and said arrogantly, "See? This young master is wearing an Armani suit. I've already been electrocuted by your broken car. I can't even be bothered to argue with you. You still have the nerve to ask me for money? Did you pull your brain out when you went to the washroom? Didn't you get a new hairstyle for free? I found that your non-mainstream hedgehog hair looks pretty good. Maybe you'll be more popular with girls." Xiao Chen shrugged and pointed at Shi Yuchuan's hair as he casually made up a story. "Oh? Really? Ha ha ha, you really know how to talk." Shi Yuchuan was stunned. He touched his hair and found that it seemed to have changed. He thought that Xiao Chen was really flattering him, so he proudly raised his head. Xiao Chen didn't say anything. There was really nothing to say to this kind of retarded kid with an IQ of less than 50. Shi Yuchuan was in a great mood. He could not be bothered to bicker with Xiao Chen about being electrocuted, so he waved his hand and said, all right. Hurry up and move your pile of junk away. If it wasn't for this young master not wanting to cause trouble, I would have sent your broken car flying into outer space with a single punch. Do you believe me? Oh, I'll move it away now." Xiao Chen secretly cursed, "Idiot." He sat in his car that had already been filled with gas. After starting it, he drove out of the gas station. Shi Yuchuan happily hummed a song as he returned to the Ferrari. He had long forgotten that his clothes and shoes had been burned. Anyway, he had a lot of spare clothes. After he finished filling up the gas, he could change into another set. Rich, willful. Fiddling with the rearview mirror, Shi Yuchuan admired his hedgehog hairstyle. He thought to himself, that kid seems to have a point. This hairstyle is indeed more suitable for me. Shi Yuchuan secretly decided, looks like I'll have to get a hairstylist to give me this hedgehog hairstyle. Look, how cool. How handsome. However, there was another problem. The Ferrari's body was too short. When Shi Yuchuan sat in, his hair that was standing up touched the roof. Helpless, he could only open the sunroof to let his hair stretch out. From afar, it looked like he had planted grass on the roof of the car. However, sure Yuchuan didn't think so. He felt that this was the best way to show off his handsome and trendy hairstyle. Just as Xiaochen drove out of the rest area, the satellite phone in the Jetta rang. He looked at the number and saw that it was Ling Tian. He put on his Bluetooth headset and answered the call. Xiaochen, are you okay? Did you encounter any trouble? On the other end of the phone, Ling Tian's tone was a little serious. It sounded like something big had happened. I'm fine. There's no trouble. Xiaochen could hear that Ling Tian's tone was not right. He first replied, then asked, Bureau Chief Ling, did something happen? Just tell me. I can handle it. Oh. It's like this. I just received news that many sects in the outer pugilistic world have sent their disciples to infiltrate the secular world. I haven't found out what they're here for. However, I suspect that it has something to do with the meteoric metal and the forging materials. Ling Tian analyzed in a low voice. Now that he had received the news, it meant that not long after Xiaochen left, the outer pugilistic world had already started their operation. After all, it took time for the news to come back. This was too much of a coincidence. I'm fine for the time being. However, when I was in the service area just now, I met a guy with the strength of a level 3 marshal general. Xiaochen was halfway through his sentence when he remembered what had happened. Oh? What happened? Ling Tian asked. He didn't dare to let go of even the slightest possibility. It's nothing. He didn't attack me. It's just because of my car. Xiaochen thought for a moment. Although he felt that it was not very likely, he still told Ling Tian what had happened. I see. I think you should be more careful. If you really meet an expert, just destroy the forging materials. Anyway, there's a backup in the research center. It's fine as long as you're fine. Ling Tian frowned and said, I will try to contact the people from the outer pugilistic world as soon as possible to see if we can think of a way to stop them. However, it might take some time. Alright, I understand. Don't worry, Bureau Chief Ling. F***CK. As Xiaochen spoke, he suddenly cursed. He was driving just now, and a red Ferrari suddenly stopped in front of his car. Xiaochen took a closer look. It was the car that he met at the gas station. He saw that the Ferrari stepped on the brakes to stop him for a moment. Then, it sped away quickly. There was even a bunch of grass on the roof of the Ferrari swaying in the wind. Although Xiaochen was on the phone just now, he had subconsciously released his divine sense to observe the surroundings. When he realized that something was wrong, he immediately stepped on the brakes. The Jetta's tires left a black brake mark on the ground and quickly came to a stop. Luckily, there were no other cars on the highway. The modified Jetta had good grip and braked quickly. However, if there were other cars behind it, it was very likely that it would hit the rear end of Xiaochen's car. Even so, Xiaochen was still shocked. What's wrong? Did someone sneak attack you? Ling Tian also heard the loud braking sound through the phone. His heart sank as he hurriedly asked. It's nothing. It's just that idiot just now. He probably wanted to take revenge, so he purposely blocked my car. Xiaochen stared at the Ferrari that sped away. He was a little unhappy. If he knew that guy was so arrogant, he would have beaten him up. A mere level 3 general wouldn't take long to beat him into 360 positions. It's good that you're fine, it's good that you're fine. Ling Tian's worried heart finally relaxed. In any case, you better be careful. I will try to negotiate with the people from the External Martial Arts Guild as soon as possible to ensure your safety. Alright, focus on driving. That's all for now. After saying that, Ling Tian hung up the phone and went to contact the others. Xiaochen parked the car at the temporary parking lot by the roadside. After checking that the emergency brake didn't cause any problems to the car, he continued on his way. After driving for another half an hour, although there were many cars coming and going on the highway, the red Ferrari didn't appear again. Xiaofan guessed that the person just wanted revenge. Since he had made fun of him before, he didn't take it to heart. Not long after, Xiaofan arrived at a highway toll station. As he was a member of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, he didn't need to line up to pay the toll. He directly showed his ID from the green channel and the staff let him pass quickly. Not far from the toll station, Xiaofan saw the red Ferrari parked on the side of the highway. There was a man and a woman standing next to the car. The man was the man with the hedgehog haircut. He was talking to a girl next to him with a fawning expression. The girl's appearance made Xiaofan's eyes light up. The girl didn't look like a model. Her temperament was quite outstanding. Although she was standing next to the car, her eyebrows were slightly furrowed. She didn't look very happy. However, her appearance was still very beautiful. Her beauty was comparable to that of Cheng Menjing and Shen Jingxian. This made Xiaofan feel amazed. However, for some reason, Xiaofan vaguely felt that the girl's outline was somewhat familiar. It was as if he had seen her somewhere before. However, he couldn't remember where. "Miss Ling, I'm really sorry to have kept you waiting, right? It's all that idiot's fault. He insisted on using 98 gasoline. He even dared to show off in front of me while driving a broken Jetta. I despise people like him the most." Shi Yuchuan had just arrived at the highway when he received his goddess. Chapter 826. Shi Yuchuan stroked his hedgehog hair, which he thought was stylish, and squeezed out a bright smile. He pretended to be a gentleman and opened the car door for little Ling. Then, he gestured for her to get in. "Don't talk nonsense. Let's set off as soon as possible. We still have business to attend to." Little Ling did not even look at the hedgehog hair. She sat in the car with a cold expression and said indifferently. She had always been disgusted by Shi Yuchuan. She always felt that he was up to no good. If it wasn't for the fact that her master had appointed the two of them to carry out the mission together, she would not have wanted to meet Shi Yuchuan alone. Yes. You're right. This matter concerns both our sections. We must take it seriously. Shi Yuchuan quickly nodded in agreement. However, his eyes kept wandering over little Ling's slim figure. He thought to himself, "Little hussy, why are you pretending to be pure in front of me? When you become my plaything in bed, I'll play with you until you die. Why aren't you driving? What are you waiting for?" Little Ling could not help but frown after waiting for a long time for Shi Yuchuan to move. She asked unhappily. "Oh, aren't we going to the highway later? I have to fasten my seatbelt." Shi Yuchuan slowly fastened his seatbelt. Suddenly, he thought of something and turned his head to ask politely, "By the way, Miss Little Ling, are you thirsty? You've waited for so long. Are you hungry? I just bought a lot of your favorite drinks from the rest area. I also bought some snacks and biscuits." Little Ling was so angry that she was about to explode. Before Shi Yuchuan could finish, she angrily rebuked, "Stop nagging. Hurry up and drive." Okay. Don't be angry. Women age easily when they get angry. When that time comes, they won't be pretty anymore with wrinkles. What if? Shi Yuchuan wanted to say something more. However, he suddenly felt a murderous gaze from the side. He could not help but shrink his neck. Shi Yuchuan started the sports car and turned it around. Their destination this time was Lan City. Therefore, they had to turn around and get back on the highway. When he got out of the car, Shi Yuchuan racked his brains. He tried to think of many topics to talk to Yiling. However, Yiling was lukewarm. She replied to him with a few words. Then, she simply ignored him. So at this moment, the atmosphere in the car was very stiff. Shi Yuchuan was a little depressed in his heart. Damn it, I'm an outstanding talent in my sect. So many girls surround me every day, but I don't even look at them. You're just a little girl, and you have the nerve to show me face. Frustrated, Shi Yuchuan stepped hard on the accelerator. The Ferrari's engine roared, and the whole car sped forward. Shi Yuchuan. Why are you driving so fast? Suddenly, Yiling felt a strong push on her back. She couldn't help but grip the door tightly with both hands as she shouted. She glanced at the dashboard and saw that the speed had reached 220. Oh, Miss Ling, aren't we in a hurry? That's why I want to drive faster so that I don't get in the way, right? Shi Yuchuan said without batting an eyelid. Yiling wanted to protest. However, she thought that she was indeed in a hurry. So, she didn't say anything. Shi Yuchuan thought that Yiling would panic. Then, he could take good care of her. He didn't expect that Yiling would say nothing after saying one sentence. In desperation, he could only continue to step hard on the accelerator. Not long after, Shi Yuchuan's eyes glanced not far away. Suddenly, it was as if he had discovered a new continent. He stared at a Volkswagen Jetta that was driving in the distance. His eyes turned and he suddenly thought of an idea. He turned the steering wheel and the whole Ferrari suddenly drove diagonally into the opposite lane. The tires made an ear-piercing screeching sound. Ah! Yiling was so shocked by the sudden turn of events that she screamed. Her whole body was stuck to the window. If it wasn't for the seatbelt on her body, she would have been thrown out of the car. When she came back to her senses, Yiling couldn't help but take a deep breath. She patted her chest with lingering fear. She didn't think that this behavior was cool at all. Instead, she angrily scolded, Shi Yuchuan. Are you crazy? This is the wrong lane. Hurry up and drive back to the right lane. What are you trying to do? Nothing. Don't worry. I'm inviting you to watch a good show. It's very, very fun. The corner of Shi Yuchuan's mouth raised proudly. He turned on the xenon headlights and stepped on the accelerator. He directly increased the speed of the car to 250 km per hour and rushed towards Xiao Chen's car. You're crazy. You must be crazy. Yiling stared dumbfounded at Shi Yuchuan's series of actions. She said in shock and anger, Stop the car. I'm not taking your car anymore. I want to get out. However, Shi Yuchuan didn't seem to hear her. He had no intention of slowing down or stopping the car. Yiling gritted her teeth. She wanted to force open the door and abandon the car to escape. However, the car's central lock had long been locked. Yiling couldn't open it at all. Sure. You. Chuan. Yiling's eyes were about to spit fire. However, Shi Yuchuan said calmly, Don't worry, Miss Yiling. Look, the idiot in the Jetta must be very frightened. Just wait and see him make a fool of himself. At this time, Shi Yuchuan had been blinded by the desire to perform. Just now, he suddenly thought of a classic scene from a racing movie. He decided to imitate it for excitement. From his point of view, a person like Xiao Chen who drove a Jetta was definitely a mountain cannon that had never seen the world before. Seeing a Ferrari rushing over, he would definitely panic and turn the steering wheel in a flurry to avoid it. In the end, it was very likely that he would lose control and directly crash into the roadside fence. Even if Xiao Chen didn't have enough time to dodge, and only instinctively wanted to brake, then with his own driving skills, coupled with the superb performance of the Ferrari, he would be able to dodge in time when the two cars met. There wouldn't be any risk at all. At that time, Yiling would not only be amazed by his driving skills, but she would also feel that he was calm and composed. She would also feel that he had the demeanor of a general. Thus, it was very possible that she would secretly fall in love with him and take a liking to him. As for Xiao Chen, who cared if he died? He might even pee his pants. If it wasn't for this little bastard wasting his time, he wouldn't have been scolded so badly by his goddess. Shi Yuchuan blamed Miss Yiling's anger on Xiao Chen. At this time, inside the Jetta, Xiao Chen angrily stared at the Ferrari that was rapidly approaching him. His face was gloomy. He was secretly annoyed. Go to hell with your stupid hedgehog head. You're just a level 3 Marshal General cultivator, yet you're so cocky. Do you really think you're number 1 in the world? I've already let you off twice. If I don't teach you a lesson this time, you'll really think that I'm a pushover. After making up his mind, Xiao Chen first used his primordial energy to protect the car. Then, he stepped on the accelerator and the car suddenly accelerated to 200 km per hour. In an instant, the car crashed into the Ferrari. Before Shi Yuchuan could react, he heard a loud boom sound. In the blink of an eye, his car had an intimate contact with the other car. With a bang, the Ferrari's airbag came out and hit Shi Yuchuan in the face. Although Shi Yuchuan had the strength of a level 3 General Realm cultivator, he was not mentally prepared. He was caught off guard and was hit by the airbag. His nose started to bleed. Yiling, who was sitting next to him, did not feel good either. Although she had taken precautions in advance, she was not as embarrassed as Shi Yuchuan. However, she was still dizzy. She felt as if her internal organs were constantly churning. She also felt waves of dizziness. After turning on the double flashing lights, Xiao Chen got out of the car to check. The front of the Ferrari had been smashed. It was a tragic sight to behold. His Jetta did not have much of a problem. However, the front bumper was slightly dented. If one did not look carefully, one would not be able to see it. At this time, the door of the Ferrari opened. Shi Yuchuan struggled out of the airbag and stumbled out of the car. He swayed back and forth as if he was drunk. TSK. Not only did you drive on the wrong side of the road, but you also recklessly hit my car. Are you trying to defy the heavens? Do you really think you're Superman? Xiao Chen frowned as he looked at Shi Yuchuan unhappily. At this time, Yiling finally got out of the car. She ran to the side of the road and squatted down. She started to retch. She almost threw up her stomach. As he looked at Yiling's back, Xiao Chen shook his head and teased, "Oh, I was wondering why you were so capable. It turns out that there's a girl sitting next to you. Are you being dishonest now that you have a girl? Look, even your nose is bleeding. It seems that you've taken advantage of her. If you want to do something that is not suitable for children, you should go to the bushes. How can you do it on the highway? What the F***ck? Shi Yuchuan shook his buzzing head and finally sobered up a little. He lowered his head to look at his Ferrari, which was in a mess, and then looked at the undamaged Jetta. He was instantly dumbfounded. He thought that there was something wrong with his eyes. After rubbing them with all his might, he realized that the scene was still the same as before. Shi Yuchuan shouted in disbelief, "This is impossible. My car is a Ferrari 458. The front of my car is damaged. How can your broken car be fine?" What puzzled Shi Yuchuan the most was how a broken Jetta could accelerate at a speed of 100 meters per hour. Just now, he clearly saw that the distance between the two cars was quite far. It was enough for him to do anything. However, the result was that they collided. What nonsense are you talking about? Did you knock your head silly? Who said that it's fine? Open your eyes and take a look. Xiao Chen pointed at the bumper of the Jetta and said angrily, "The paint on my bumper has been scratched off. There's even a big dent in it. F***ck. Is your Jetta an armored car? It's just a dent. Isn't it fine?" Shi Yuchuan rubbed his eyes again and said in disbelief. It was no wonder that he found it unbelievable. The main thing was that this matter was beyond his understanding. Chapter 827. Logically speaking, a low-end car like the Jetta that cost tens of thousands of yuan wasn't on the same level as a Ferrari. But the two cars collided, and the front of the car was damaged. Logically speaking, the Jetta should have been smashed into pieces. But it was actually intact. Oh, no, it only hit a dent. Why do you care if it was a real car or a fake one? Don't say those useless things. You can afford a sports car, but you don't know that sports cars can't withstand collisions? When a sports car collides, it can protect the passengers to the greatest extent, so the damage to the car body is more serious. Xiaofan waved his hand and said plainly, "Okay, I'm done with my science. You were driving the wrong way and hit my car. You have to take full responsibility. Hurry up and pay me the money." Xiaofan didn't seem to hear Xiaofan's words at all. He went in front of the Jetta and studied it for a long time. He even reached out and touched it twice to confirm that he really wasn't hallucinating. Xiaofan's legs were shaking as he said lightly, "Don't look at it anymore. My car doesn't have anything else except the bumper. It's the latest European technology. It costs 500,000 to change it. Since we met once before, I won't make it difficult for you. I'll give you a discount. You just have to pay me 490,000. Motherf asterisk Kerr, are you kidding me? Changing the bumper costs 500,000. Do you really think I'm stupid?" Xiaofan suddenly jumped up and shouted while gritting his teeth, "Now my car is damaged, and your car is fine. I still have to pay you money? Stop daydreaming. Besides, you deliberately accelerated to hit me. You were speeding. Do you know that?" Xiaofan really couldn't think of a reason, so he could only use speeding as an excuse. It seemed that after his head was hit by the airbag, he was indeed completely stupid. He didn't even consider that he was driving the wrong way, and he still wanted to push the responsibility to Xiaofan. I told you not to stop taking the medicine, but you didn't listen to me. You were recovering well, and now you're retarded again?" Xiaofan was speechless at Xiaofan's IQ, so he could only sigh. What medicine?" Xiaofan was stunned. Xiaofan glanced at Xiaofan and impatiently said, "Don't think about it. You can't figure it out with that brain of yours. I'm driving straight, so why do you care if I'm speeding or not? Hurry up and pay up. Otherwise, I'll call the police. When the police come, even if I exceed the speed limit, they will only fine me a little. As for you..." Xiaofan smiled faintly and spread his hands, making an expression that said, "You know what I mean. Stinking brat, are you trying to swindle me? You hit my car and you still dare to call the police? Do you really think I don't dare to beat you up?" Xiaofan flew into a rage and waved his fist, ready to greet Xiaofan. Xiaofan didn't dodge. He looked at Xiaofan calmly. As a result, Xiaofan's fist only stretched out halfway before he retracted it. Xiaofan wasn't stupid. At this time, he realized that he was in the wrong. If he could scare the other party away, it would be fine. But if the other party didn't leave, he really couldn't beat them up so easily. Besides, his goddess was watching from the side, so he couldn't be too rude. He had to be gentlemanly. In desperation, Xiaofan could only give up the idea of asking Xiaofan to pay for the car. He threatened in a low voice, "All right. Seeing that you once said that I'm handsome, I'll let this matter go. Hurry up and get lost, or I'll smash your broken car, do you believe me?" Previously at the gas station, when Xiaofan said that he would smash the Jetta, Xiaofan drove away obediently. He thought that his threat would work again this time, but he didn't expect the guy in front of him to still stand there motionless and sneer after listening to him. Originally, if you said something nice, I would be in a good mood, and maybe I wouldn't be bothered to argue with you. But now, with your attitude, if I don't make you pay 300,000 to 500,000 yuan, I'll be letting my car down." Xiaofan snorted. "All right, stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and pay up, or else. Before he finished speaking, Xiaofan directly pushed the Ferrari with his palm. Immediately, the entire car moved a few feet horizontally. The front of the car was smashed, and a few pieces of metal fell off. At this time, little Ling was no longer vomiting. She frowned and stood at the side, secretly looking at Xiaofan. After a short period of rest, she felt much better. When she saw the scene of Xiaofan pushing the car away, she couldn't help but be a little surprised. She didn't know Xiaofan. She just felt that Xiaofan's accent was a little familiar, but she couldn't remember where she had heard it before. However, Xiaofan's face was completely unfamiliar. This made little Ling very confused. I won't pay up. What can you do to me? Xiaofan didn't care about Xiaofan at all and said indifferently. He felt that Xiaofan probably moved bricks at the construction site often, so he was stronger than the average person. That was why he could push the Ferrari. Compared to his strength of a level 3 martial general, it was nothing. Looks like you won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. Xiaofan strode forward and grabbed Xiaofan's collar. He forcefully lifted him up. You! What are you doing? Let me go. How dare you? Xiaofan was furious. He continuously struggled, trying to escape from Xiaofan's evil clutches. Xiaofan waited for Xiaofan to struggle for a while before he pushed him heavily, directly throwing him to the ground. Xiaofan was struggling with all his might. Caught off guard, he was immediately thrown into a state of confusion. He couldn't tell which way was north for a long time. You're asking for death. With great difficulty, he stood up. He was so furious that he no longer cared about his demeanor. He threw a punch at Xiaofan. However, Xiaofan didn't use his true strength in this punch. After all, he was a level 3 martial general cultivator. Against an ordinary person like Xiaofan, he didn't need to use his strength to deal with him. There was no need to use an anti-aircraft cannon to hit a mosquito and waste his energy. You overestimate yourself. Xiaofan smiled coldly and did not dodge. Instead, he casually struck out with his palm and directly met Xiaofan's fist. Ha ha ha. Do you really think that you can compete with me just because you have some strength? Really? What? Xiaofan's expression suddenly changed. It wasn't until he got closer that he felt a dangerous aura coming from Xiaofan's body. God damn it, this Xiaofan was actually an expert of the demon general level, just like him. A muffled sound rang out. Their fists and palms intersected. Xiaofan was directly forced back a few steps by Xiaofan's powerful energy. His entire arm was numb from the impact, and it hung by his side, trembling non-stop. Xiaofan knew that things were not looking good. Ever since he had encountered the Jetta, he had had bad luck again and again. First, he had been electrocuted, then he had crashed his Ferrari, and now, he had been tricked by this brat. If he hadn't sensed that something was wrong and immediately released his strength as a level 3 martial general to block the attack, he was afraid that his arm would have been crippled by Xiaofan. Wah! Xiaofan spat out a mouthful of black blood. Only then did he recover. With a face full of shock, he pointed at Xiaofan and said, You have the strength of a level 1 demon general. What do you mean by soy sauce, yellow sauce, chili sauce? I don't even understand what you're talking about. Since you already know how powerful I am, don't be so long-winded. Hurry up and compensate me. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Xiaofan said expressionlessly as he flexed his wrists. Actually, Xiaofan had purposely suppressed his level to that of a level 1 demon general in order to not expose his strength. Ha ha ha. You're just a mere level 1 demon general. Do you really think that this young master is afraid of you? Take this. 6-directional stone-crushing fist. Xiaofan laughed arrogantly. In an instant, he released his strength as a level 3 martial general and used his sect signature move. He clenched his fists and flew towards Xiao Chen. What kind of rubbish fist technique is this? You dare to call it a stone-crushing fist with just this bit of power? I don't think you can even shatter a walnut. With a look of disdain, Xiao Chen shrugged his shoulders. He casually turned around and dodged the wind from Shi Yuchuan's fist. Then, he lifted his leg and kicked directly towards his groin. Ouch! Shi Yuchuan was kicked several meters away. With a miserable howl, he fell to the side of the highway while clutching his buttocks. Blood instantly dyed his pants red. His flashy hedgehog head also deeply pierced into the mud. He felt that his buttocks had been seriously injured. His hair was stuck in the mud and could not be pulled out. If he exerted a little force, the wound on his buttocks would be affected. He could not help but wail, "Oh my God! My buttocks! Did they turn into King Sunflower?" What surprised Xiao Chen was that little Ling saw that Shi Yuchuan had suffered a big loss. However, she did not do anything. Instead, she continued to coldly watch from the side. She had no intention of helping. At this time, little Ling's mind kept thinking, this Xiao Chen's accent is so familiar. Where have I heard it before? Wow! I'm so angry. Miss Ling, why are you still standing there? Why aren't you helping me take care of this guy? Shi Yuchuan shouted agitatedly. Shi Yuchuan, our mission this time is to work together to investigate the extraterrestrial meteoric iron and forging information. Master did not ask me to help you cause trouble. Ling looked at Shi Yuchuan with disdain, and said coldly, also, put away the way you pick up girls, it's useless against me. What chrysanthemum, sunflower, this person is too disgusting. Little Ling was Granny Nanshan's disciple, Ling, She came to the secular world this time because her sect and Shi Yuchuan's Six Directions sect had reached an agreement. They were prepared to work together to investigate Xiao Chen's movements. Their goal was to obtain the extraterrestrial meteoric iron and forging information from Xiao Chen. When Xiao Chen heard Shi Yuchuan say the name Ling, he was very shocked. At first, he was not very sure. However, when he heard Ling, speak, he immediately recognized her voice. Only then did he confirm her identity. She was the young lady who had begged him to save Granny Nanshan. However, what made Xiao Chen strange was that Ling had changed. She wasn't this beautiful before. That's right. Xiao Chen remembered that he had suspected that she was wearing a mask to hide her appearance. It seemed that her current appearance was her true appearance. Chapter 828. Looking at Linger's peerless beauty, Xiao Chen felt strange. Why did she hide her appearance? Wasn't she doing fine like this? Could it be that she had an unspeakable secret like him? Was that why she wore a mask to make it easier for her to move around? Yes, that was the only possibility. Linger also felt that Xiao Chen's voice was familiar because the two of them had met before. However, when they met, Xiao Chen always appeared as Xiao Chang and the White Fox, so she did not recognize Xiao Chen. At this time, Shi Yuchuan had already endured the pain and pulled his head out of the mud. However, when he heard what Linger said, he immediately felt very embarrassed. He was so embarrassed that he wanted to crawl back into the mud. He originally thought that with his strength as a level 3 martial general, taking care of Xiao Chen would be a piece of cake. He did not expect this guy to not only have a body full of strange strength, but he was also a level 1 demon general demon cultivator. In the end, not only did he repeatedly suffer losses, but he also damaged his image in the eyes of the goddess. The more Shi Yuchuan thought about it, the angrier he became. He raised his head and saw that Xiao Chen had his head lowered as if he was thinking about something. He rolled his eyes. Wasn't this a good opportunity for a sneak attack? Once again activating his qi, Shi Yuchuan attacked Xiao Chen with a punch. Brat, take this. 6 directional shattering. F***CK. The reason why Shi Yuchuan immediately exclaimed was that he had failed again. Although Xiao Chen was immersed in his own thoughts, his powerful divine sense had already captured Shi Yuchuan's movements. Seeing that this non-mainstream with muddy hair wanted to sneak an attack on him, Xiao Chen casually released a fireball and threw it at him. It smashed right on his head. In the end, Xiao Chen did not forget to tease him. Your sect is quite interesting. They actually have a martial art called 6 directional shattering. Looks like I'll have to pay them a visit someday. Ah. Fire. Water. My hair. Shi Yuchuan's hair was instantly on fire. He shouted incoherently as he ran to his car in a panic. He found a bottle of mineral water in a flurry and poured it directly on his hair that was on fire. I'm sorry. My hand slipped and I burned the hedgehog head that you're so proud of. But I think your current style is pretty good. It has a bit of a performance art feeling. I didn't expect you to be an artist. Xiao Chen said with a smile. What he had just released was just an ordinary fireball, so the fire on Shi Yuchuan's head was quickly extinguished by the mineral water. However, the hair that was originally swaying with the wind was also burnt to a bald spot. Why-ya-ya-ya. My hairstyle. Shi Yuchuan touched his messy hair, which made the 3-corpse god jump up and down in anger. He glared at Xiao Chen and said while gnashing his teeth, You are actually a 6th-level devil general devil cultivator? Are you deliberately pretending to be a first-layer demon general to trick me? Which sect are you from? Say it if you have the guts. I promise I won't beat you to death. Shi Yuchuan was also at his wits' end. Now that the other party's strength was higher than his, he couldn't beat the other party even if he wanted to, so he could only speak ruthlessly. If Ling could join forces with him to deal with Xiao Chen, he might have a chance of winning. However, Ling was just watching coldly from the side and didn't have the slightest intention of helping. Then it wouldn't be good for him to make a move alone. Could it be that he would go up and look for trouble? Why are you asking so much? What, do you want to bring people to my sect to cause trouble? Xiao Chen said indifferently with a mocking look on his face. Just now, he had disguised himself as a 6th-level devil general. As a result, Shi Yuchuan was fooled for the second time. Xiao Chen felt that this guy's IQ wasn't 50, it should be -50. Humph. As long as you dare to say it, I dare to bring people to cause trouble. Let's see if you have the guts. Shi Yuchuan snorted coldly and stared fiercely at Xiao Chen. However, his half-bald hair didn't make him look threatening at all. However, Shi Yuchuan wasn't exaggerating. Although the 6 Directions sect behind him couldn't be said to be the best in the martial arts world, it was at least one of the top sections. If they really had a conflict with an ordinary sect like the Devil Sect, they definitely wouldn't be at a disadvantage. Oh, I am young Master Xing, who changes my name whenever I sit. As for which sect I'm from, your status is too low to know. However, I'm here to ask the Kuei Mountain sect for a favor. You're so smart, I'm sure you'll be able to guess my identity immediately, right? Xiao Chen shook his legs and said casually. He purposely pretended to be arrogant and conceited like young Master Xing. Since he was acting, he had to go all the way. Huh. You're from the Awakening Heaven sect? Shi Yuchuan's expression froze on his face. He was dumbfounded. Looking at the martial arts world, who didn't know how strong the Awakening Heaven sect was? A person of his status couldn't afford to offend the people inside. Otherwise, he wouldn't even know how he died. Shi Yuchuan was very clear that although he was already considered an outstanding disciple of the martial arts world, even their sect leader wouldn't easily offend the people of the Awakening Heaven sect. There was no other reason but because the Awakening Heaven sect had always been the leader of the Devil sect. They were the most powerful existence in the martial arts world. Ling was also stunned. She didn't expect to meet a disciple of the Awakening Heaven sect in the secular world. Although her sect was considered to have some influence in the righteous sects, they still couldn't openly oppose the Awakening Heaven sect. However, she wasn't like Shi Yuchuan, who would believe a casual sentence from the other party. She was still sizing up this young Master Xing in front of her, feeling that he was a little strange. He felt familiar but she couldn't recognize him. Ding dong. You guessed correctly. At least you have some common sense. Xiaofan nodded proudly and said condescendingly, since you already know my identity, then hurry up and take out the money. I don't have much patience. As he spoke, Xiaofan thought to himself, as expected, the Awakening Heaven sect was the backing of the Kuei Mountain sect. No wonder that last Xing dared to brazenly come to the research institute to steal things. She didn't put them in her eyes at all. Humph. Don't think that I'm afraid of you just because you're from the Awakening Heaven sect. Shi Yuchuan tried his best to puff out his chest and embolden himself. He pretended to be calm and said, "This young master is called Shi Yuchuan. I'm a disciple of the Six Harmonies sect of the martial arts world. Seeing that we're both from the martial arts world, I won't look for trouble with you. If others see it, they'll say that there's internal strife in the martial arts world. Don't try to get close to me. Who's talking about us? Just give me a straightforward answer. Are you going to compensate me or not?" Xiaofan was unmoved. He looked at Shi Yuchuan coldly and asked with a fireball in his hand. Don't release the fireball." Shi Yuchuan didn't expect that Xiaofan wouldn't fall for his trick. He immediately panicked and searched his body for a long time. He took out a bank card and handed it over with trembling hands. I didn't bring that much cash. There's still over 300,000 in this card. Why don't you take it first and owe the rest? I'll pay you back when I have the money." Shi Yuchuan couldn't help but be afraid. As the saying goes, the unreasonable are afraid of the reckless. If Xiaofan set fire to him again, he wouldn't have a place to cry even if he wanted to. "Oh, do whatever you want. Anyway, I already know that you're from the Six Directions sect. Even if you want to renege on the debt, it won't be that easy." Xiaofan took the bank card and couldn't be bothered with him anymore. He turned back to his car and drove away. However, although Xiaofan seemed indifferent, he was a little shocked. I didn't expect this guy to be from the martial arts world. Since Ling is with him, doesn't that mean that she's also from the martial arts world? Xiaofan was very confused. Why are people from the martial arts world appearing so frequently in the secular world? Didn't I hear that they can't enter and leave as they please? Could it be that it's really like what Ling Tian said? They're all here for the meteoric metal and the forging materials. Pay. Seeing the Jetta gradually disappear from his sight, Shi Yuchuan snorted and said with disdain, "So what if you're from the Qi Tian sect? Don't let this young master see you again. You're just a pretty boy. How dare you call yourself young master Xing your balls." At this time, little lass Xing was cultivating in the sect. Suddenly, she sneezed heavily. She was confused. "With my body, I don't think I'll get sick. Could it be that there's someone who doesn't want his life and is bad-mouthing me behind my back?" Ling stood at the same spot and lowered her head in thought. The tone of the person who called himself young Master Xing sounded really familiar. However, she didn't recognize his face. Could it be that the two of them met once during the Martial Arts World Summit? So she had an impression of him? Shi Yuchuan thought that Ling was angry that he didn't fight her head-on and hurriedly said, "Miss Ling, don't be angry. I'm just thinking about our mission. After all, we're in a hurry, aren't we? If not for the fact that we're in a hurry, I would have killed him. Are you going to stand on the highway like this to complete our mission?" Seeing Shi Yuchuan still scolding her, Ling's anger flared up and she said coldly, "Now that your car has been destroyed, if we don't hurry to Lan City, our mission will be delayed. What do you plan to do? Ling was about to die of depression. She felt that she was too unlucky. Why did she have to deal with an idiot like Shi Yuchuan? Not only was he weak, his intelligence was low too. Furthermore, he loved to stir up trouble. While that young Master Xing was a disciple of the demon sect, he was still reasonable. Ling was puzzled. Why did I subconsciously compare these two people? This is too strange. Miss Ling, don't be anxious. This is not a problem at all. I can call a car over immediately. This place is very close to Lan City. I'll get someone to pick us up. Shi Yuchuan patted his chest and said. Seeing that Ling had turned her face away and ignored him, Shi Yuchuan felt a little embarrassed. He hurriedly took out his phone and pressed it a few times. Then, he placed it by his ear and said loudly, "Hey, hey, hey. Is this little Zheng?" Yes, I'm your brother Shi. I'm near the Hongpao Gang Highway's toll gate. Hurry up and pick up your sister-in-law and me. Cut the crap and hurry up. If you're late, I'll cut you up. Chapter 829. Who's your sister-in-law? Don't talk nonsense. When Linger heard this, she frowned and said with a look of disdain. However, Shi Yuchuan had already hung up the phone. He. We're so close. It's only a matter of time. Shi Yuchuan put away his phone and said with a smile. Ling glared at him fiercely. She really didn't want to talk to such a stupid person. Not long after, a Lamborghini Batmobile drove over and stopped abruptly beside the two of them. A young man jumped out of the car and ran over. He said to the two respectfully, "Hello, brother Shi." "Hello, sister-in-law. Why didn't you tell me in advance that you were coming? I could have sent someone to pick you up earlier. Miss Ling, let me introduce you to each other. This is Zheng Shiding, a collateral descendant of the Zheng family in the Wulin world. He's helping to manage the business in the secular world." Shi Yuchuan patted Zheng Shiding's shoulder and said proudly, "The Zheng family is also the spokesperson of our Luha sect in the Wulin world. And this Zheng Shiding's family can be considered as my little brother." "Oh, hello." Ling nodded to show that she had greeted him. Zheng Shiding was so excited that his neck turned red when Shi Yuchuan patted him on the shoulder. After a while, he calmed down and asked in confusion, "By the way, brother Shi, why are you and sister-in-law here? Why don't you go on the highway?" He thought to himself, could it be that people in the Wulin like to walk? Could it be that this was a new cultivation method? Don't mention it. I get angry just talking about it. Shi Yuchuan's face darkened. He pointed to the Ferrari not far away and said angrily, "I drove here." Zheng Shiding was stunned. "There's a car here? Then why did you ask me to pick you up?" He subconsciously glanced at the Ferrari and immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. This Ferrari is simply too horrible to look at. Its head is all smashed up. Did you get into a car accident?" Zheng Shiding stammered. Logically speaking, Shi Yuchuan's driving skills shouldn't be this bad, right? I just met a guy called Young Master Xing from the Wulin world. That brat is very arrogant. Not only did he damage my car, but he also set fire to my hair. I even lost my hairstyle. Shi Yuchuan gritted his teeth and said, "When I go back, I must report this matter to the sect and teach him a lesson." Since young Master Xing was no longer around, Shi Yuchuan naturally pushed all the blame onto him in order to save some face for himself. Otherwise, wouldn't he be looked down upon by his little brother? Seeing Shi Yuchuan distorting the truth, Linger couldn't help but frown, but she still turned her face away and didn't say anything. Where did this brat come from? He even dares to provoke brother Shi. He's too bold. Zheng Shiding shouted indignantly, then took out the car key and handed it to Shi Yuchuan. Brother Shi, if you don't mind, you can use my car first. I've already prepared a banquet at home. Let's talk while we eat. After that, Zheng Shiding immediately took out his mobile phone, made a call, and asked someone to drive another car over. After all, the Lamborghini could only seat 2 people. He couldn't run back. Huh, not bad, not bad. You really know how to do things. Shi Yuchuan took the key with satisfaction. Zheng Shiding was indeed on the right track. His car wasn't worse than the Ferrari. Although he said on the surface that he would let Shi Yuchuan drive first, wasn't it equivalent to giving Shi Yuchuan a free car? But looking at his Ferrari, Shi Yuchuan was still a little reluctant. He hesitated and said, "Then this car." Zheng Shiding instantly understood what Shi Yuchuan meant. He quickly patted his chest and said, "Brother Shi, don't worry. I'll send your Ferrari to the 4S shop for repair. I guarantee that it will be returned to you in its original state." Shi Yuchuan responded with an "N." He felt greatly honored, and his attitude towards Zheng Shiding was much warmer. The Zheng family came very quickly. Zheng Shiding said a few words to them, then led Shi Yuchuan to his own villa, leaving the scrapped Ferrari for them to deal with. On the way to the Zheng family, Shi Yuchuan couldn't wait to make a phone call to his own sect. He reported the misdeeds of young Master Xing to the elders. He even added oil and vinegar to it, pushing all the blame away. Although he didn't dare to take revenge on the spot, it wasn't a problem for his sect to spread the news. Linger rolled her eyes as she listened. Originally, Shi Yuchuan was the one who was being cocky, insisting on going against the other party. Unfortunately, he had kicked an iron plate. Now that he had said it, it was the other party who had provoked him first, which was unforgivable. Shi Yuchuan didn't care so much. He was humiliated. How could he just let it go like that? Since that young Master Xing had offended him, he wouldn't be able to rest. As expected, after Elder Gu of the Six Directions faction heard Shi Yuchuan's complaint, he immediately flew into a rage. After putting down the phone, he immediately ordered his disciples to spread the news that young Master Xing of the Awakening Heaven sect was tyrannical in the secular world. He was arrogant and despotic. Not only did he crash someone's car for no reason, he even dared to hit someone. Then, he actually walked away as if nothing had happened. Young Master Xing's actions caused a huge impact in the secular world. It was simply a disgrace to the inner martial arts world. Nobody knew what he was doing in the secular world. In any case, the Awakening Heaven sect was already a big tree that attracted the wind. They had long become the public enemy of the inner martial arts world. Therefore, the Six Directions faction didn't mind creating a few more rumors and splashing dirty water on the Awakening Heaven sect. Moreover, Shi Yuchuan's words were very convincing. It was very likely to be the truth. Under the strong push of the Six Directions faction, this news quickly spread throughout the inner martial arts world. "Little Xing, what are you doing? Didn't I tell you to plan before taking action? Why did you create such a big commotion?" After Elder Sun received the news, he immediately found little Xing and reprimanded her. Little Miss Xing was baffled. She had just received the news and couldn't make heads or tails of it. When did I crash a car and hit someone? He had clearly come back without a sound. Elder Sun didn't wait for little Xing to open her mouth to explain. He once again sternly interrupted her, "Even if you want to deal with others, you should remember those methods. Now, not only did you not eliminate the root of the problem, you even gave others a reason to talk about it. Our Awakening Heaven sect was already the target of public criticism. You even added snow to the fire. What nonsense!" Little Xing cried out in grievance. She shook her head and said, "Elder Sun, calm down first. Don't you understand me? I don't usually drive. Moreover, our Awakening Heaven sect and the Six Directions faction have never crossed paths. I don't have any grudges with their disciples. Why would I provoke them for no reason? It turned out that little Xing once encountered a car accident when she was a child. It buried a lot of psychological trauma in her childhood. Although she was already at the Demon King level 10 great perfection, she would still have psychological panic after sitting in a car for a long time. She would get carsick, so she usually walked most of the time. Elder Sun frowned. He also found it strange. If that's the case, why would they spread such rumors? They even made it sound so real. It doesn't seem to be made up at all. Little girl Xing thought about it, but she couldn't make heads or tails of it. She gloomily asked, Elder Sun, where did this news come from? She was pondering whether someone was deliberately trying to frame her. But it's useless. It's just smearing my image. What's the use? Now the entire inner martial arts world is abuzz with this news. I can't find the source of the rumor at all. Elder Sun waved his hand and didn't intend to be entangled on this topic. Forget it. The sect will block this matter for you first. There shouldn't be any trouble for the time being. Now, there is a more important matter to tell you. Little Xing nodded helplessly. Elder, please speak. According to reliable information, the Extreme Ice sect has already started to take action. They sent people to deal with Xiaofan. You should prepare as soon as possible. If the people from the Extreme Ice sect succeed, you should disrupt it. If they don't succeed, you should secretly add fuel to the fire and let more sects join in. In short, you can't let Xiaofan have an easy time. It's best to put him in danger. Elder Sun instructed in a deep voice. Okay, I'll do it now. Little Xing pulled herself together and nodded. Just as she was about to turn around and leave, Elder Sun's serious voice came again. Remember, don't leave anything for others to talk about. Otherwise, if things get out of hand, our Awakening Heaven sect will also be in trouble. Elder Sun was still a little worried and couldn't help but exhort her. Understood. Little Xing's shoulders immediately slumped and she absent-mindedly answered. She dragged her feet and walked back. Her mind started to think about where she went wrong. Logically speaking, in the inner martial arts world, no one should know that she went to the secular world. Even if they knew that the news of Xiaofan carrying forging materials was released by the Awakening Heaven sect, they definitely wouldn't think that it had anything to do with her. There were so many people in the Awakening Heaven sect. Why would they think of her? Little Xing was really puzzled. What was going on? Could it be that Night Island Gue Fu leaked the news? That can't be. I have no enmity with him in the past. He shouldn't be so bold as to betray me, right? Moreover, even if he wanted to betray me, there was no way he could contact other people in the inner martial arts world. He was still counting on me to send him cultivation manuals next time. How would he dare to offend me? That was really strange. That night, little Xing couldn't sleep. She tossed and turned in bed. She couldn't figure it out even after thinking for a whole night. She could only inexplicably suffer in silence. She was extremely depressed. When Shi Yuchuan and Ling arrived at Lan City and the Zheng residence, it was already midnight. The two of them could only follow Zheng Shiding's arrangements and stay in the Zheng residence. They planned to deal with the sect's mission the next day. Even if they wanted to investigate now, they didn't know where to start. Chapter 830. At first, Zheng Shiding even found a guest room with a king-sized bed, but he was almost thrown out by Ling. Shi Yuchuan tried his best to persuade them, and finally, they slept in two separate rooms. The next morning, the two woke up early. After stuffing themselves with some breakfast, they asked someone to find Zheng Shiding to ask about him. At this time, the people of the Zheng family also received the news from Zheng Shiding. They knew that people from the sects of the internal martial arts world had come. One by one, they rushed over and warmly entertained them. They forced the two of them to eat breakfast again. This made Shi Yuchuan feel very honored. He almost forgot that he was here to do business. Brother Shi, is there something important that you came back to Lan City? If there's anything I can help you with, please let me know. Although I don't have much ability, I still have some say in Lan City. Zheng Shiding said after breakfast, patting his chest. For Zheng Shiding, it was a great honor to be able to serve Shi Yuchuan once. Shi Yuchuan was an outstanding disciple of the Wulin sect. If he could serve him well, he would be rewarded with a move or elixir. Wouldn't he be rich? Even if he didn't, the Zheng family's influence in the secular world would rise, and the main family of the Wulin sect would not dare to look down on them. Oh, it's actually not a big deal. This time, your sister-in-law and I came to Lan City to investigate a person called Xiaofan. I wonder if you've heard of him? Shi Yuchuan picked his teeth with a toothpick as he asked casually. The top of his head had been shaved smooth and glossy. Shi Yuchuan felt that although the Zheng family had served him well, the secular world was still the secular world. Its level was too low, and there was no need to tell them that he was here to investigate the meteoric iron and forging materials. It would not do them any good if they knew. Moreover, the Wulin sect usually did not pay much attention to the secular world. They had only heard of the name Xiaochen, but had no information about him. They only vaguely knew that Xiaochen seemed to be the deputy director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Therefore, Shi Yuchuan only wanted the Zheng family to help investigate this information. Xiaochen. Zheng Shiding was stunned for a moment, and then hesitated. After thinking for a while, he asked tentatively, Brother Shi, do you know this person? No, my ass. If I wanted to know him, would I need to ask you? I'm here to investigate this guy. Shi Yuchuan rolled his eyes impatiently, feeling a little suffocated. If it wasn't for the fact that he had to investigate Xiao Chen's information, he wouldn't have embarrassed himself in front of Ling Er. This Zheng Shiding was asking all sorts of questions. Oh, wait a moment, Brother Shi. Zheng Shiding felt as if a huge stone had been lifted from his heart. He was wild with joy and ran back to his room. Not long after, he came back with a document and handed it over in a flattering manner. Brother Shi, take a look. This is Xiao Chen's information. Everything about him is recorded in it. How could Zheng Shiding not have heard of Xiao Chen? Of course, he knew about Xiao Chen's background. So, as soon as the other party asked, he could immediately take out the information. Previously, in the school cafeteria, he was taught a lesson by Ling Qianyu's personal expert. He fainted for a long time before he recovered. He was also surrounded by the school's teachers and students, and rumors were flying everywhere. For the next few days, when he walked on the road, people looked at him strangely. It was so embarrassing. Zheng Shiding was resentful, so he found someone to investigate the identity of this personal expert and tried his best to teach him a lesson. But after investigating, he was dumbfounded. The so-called school bell's personal expert turned out to be the deputy director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. His name was Xiao Chen. Zheng Shiding was discouraged. He didn't dare to openly go against the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Otherwise, they could just move their fingers and turn the whole Zheng family upside down. He could only hide his hatred for Xiao Chen in the bottom of his heart, swallow his broken teeth, and accept his bad luck. But now, when he heard that Shi Yuchuan wanted to deal with Xiao Chen, Zheng Shiding knew that his chance had come, so he quickly told him everything he knew. Oh? Why do you have Xiao Chen's information? Could it be that the two of you have some history? Shi Yuchuan was a little surprised. He was just asking casually, but he didn't expect to ask the right person. He picked up the information. It would have been fine if he didn't look at it, but when he looked at it, he almost exploded. Damn! Isn't this the guy who crashed my Ferrari? He's actually Xiao Chen. Ling Er was originally sitting at the side, but when she heard that, she was also stunned. She subconsciously looked over and realized that the photo of Xiao Chen on the information in Shi Yuchuan's hand was exactly the same as the guy who called himself Young Master Xing on the highway. She was a little puzzled. Logically speaking, she had indeed never seen this Xiao Chen before, but why did she keep feeling that his voice was very familiar? Could it be that she had mixed up his voice with someone else's? That was a little possible. There were too many people in the world who had similar voices. Actually, I did have some history with Xiao Chen. Previously in school. Zheng Shiding was a little embarrassed, but he still told the story of how he was taught a lesson by Xiao Chen. But in his mouth, it became a story of an unscrupulous bully bullying the school belle, and he tried his best to protect her but was knocked unconscious. Damn! This idiot really likes to cause trouble everywhere. Shi Yuchuan heard Zheng Shiding's complaint and suddenly felt like they were in the same boat. Zheng Shiding nodded and asked, "Brother Shi, is this the person you're looking for?" "That's right. Since this idiot is Xiao Chen, then the person I'm going to deal with is him." "Just nice, I can also help you vent your anger." Shi Yuchuan stared at Xiao Chen's photo and said fiercely. His eyes were about to spit fire, and he cursed in his heart, "Motherf ****. What young Master Xing your ass. So this guy is Xiao Chen. You caused me to suffer such a big loss because of him. Brother Shi, you're too good to me." I'm relieved with Brother Shi's words. Zheng Shiding first thanked him with joy, then gritted his teeth and said, "If I hadn't heard that Xiao Chen has the strength of a demon general, I would have killed him long ago." Isn't that right? I've fought with this guy before, and he was so bad that he only revealed his strength of a demon general level 6 in the end. Shi Yuchuan slapped his thigh and sighed. Zheng Shiding opened his mouth again. "Oh right, Brother Shi, I heard that Xiao Chen has the Supernatural Investigation Bureau backing him up." Shi Yuchuan waved his hand and interrupted Zheng Shiding. He said with a face full of disdain, "Don't be afraid of that ***T Supernatural Investigation Bureau, they can't control the sects of the martial arts world. The key is that Xiao Chen is too cunning, I have to plan well." Zheng Shiding was really ecstatic this time. Although the Zheng family was considered powerful in Lan City, they didn't dare to go against the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Now that he had the support of the Six Harmonies sect of the martial arts world, he could get his revenge immediately. However, Shi Yuchuan was a little annoyed at this time, thinking to himself, "If I knew that young Master Xing was Xiao Chen, then I wouldn't have alerted him. Instead, I would have built a good relationship with Xiao Chen and waited for an opportunity to steal the meteoric iron and forging information." It seemed like this was a mistake. If that's the case, I can only take my time and think of other ways to get close to Xiao Chen. After all, his and Ling's sects weren't too strong, so they joined forces this time to see if there was a chance to avoid the eyes of the other sects and secretly attack Xiao Chen. Originally, Shi Yuchuan had planned that if Xiao Chen wasn't as strong as him, then he would brazenly snatch the item. However, if Xiao Chen was too strong, Shi Yuchuan planned to let Ling sacrifice her body to charm Xiao Chen first, then wait for him to be infatuated and lose his mind, then he would take the opportunity to steal it. But now, it seemed like both plans weren't going to work. Shi Yuchuan was really annoyed. "Since you have such a great treasure, why don't you just keep a low profile? Driving a Volkswagen Jetta and acting like a loser, yet going against him at the same time. Are you so bored that your balls hurt?" After carefully thinking for a while, Shi Yuchuan felt that he should first report the current situation to the elders of the sect, and then decide what to do next. Therefore, he sent Zheng Shiding away first, then took out his phone and dialed the elder's number. "Yuchuan, how is it? Have you found Xiao Chen's information? Did that young Master Xing come back to cause trouble for you?" A stern voice came from the other end of the phone. "Reporting to Elder Gu, I've found Xiao Chen's information, but there's a small problem. Xiao Chen and that young Master Xing are the same person. Ling and I were both tricked by him, Shi Yuchuan said carefully, afraid that Elder Gu would scold him. What nonsense is this? How did Xiao Chen get involved with young Master Xing? Speak clearly. Elder Gu felt a little dizzy and asked in astonishment. It's like this, I just got Xiao Chen's information from the secular Zheng clan. The photo of Xiao Chen is exactly the same as the young Master Xing I saw yesterday. That's why I said that. Shi Yuchuan's tone was low. Thinking about how he was fooled by Xiao Chen for so long, he was about to explode. Really? Such a coincidence? Elder Gu thought for a while, then said in a low voice, how about this? I'll send someone to release the information you said and see how Qi Tian's sect reacts. Don't act rashly, stay in the Zheng clan for the time being and wait for further instructions from my side. Understood, then I'll have to trouble Elder Gu. Shi Yuchuan hung up the phone and shook his head helplessly. Elder Ge's tone was unfriendly. It seemed that he would inevitably be scolded when he returned. Ling was silent at the side. She already knew what was going on. In her opinion, Shi Yuchuan was too insolent, which caused him to miss out on Xiao Chen. Her resentment towards Shi Yuchuan increased by a lot. Elder Gu acted quickly, and it didn't take long for the Six Harmonies sect to spread the news. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.